Are you cool to get going now, or do you want to have a little chat first?
Yeah. No, we can just record everything. It's
Brilliant.
fine. It's
Nice one.
It's totally cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the like this is the only like corner in my apartment that looks like normal. Like everything else is like boxes and everything's a total chaos.
You're just packing up your life totally now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's all, like it's going to be all gone. Like
so, what do you do? I mean, in my situation when I went, I owned my flat, so literally I sold everything within it, but then rented the flat out to somebody else. Is that what you do, or do you like rent your flat? And
no, we just ended the lease, and there's somebody like new moving in. Like basically, we clear everything out here, and then it's like we're giving up. We actually today we deregistered from Germany, both of us.
Wow.
Like, we'll be homeless. We're like I'm homeless officially already.
Yeah. Well, listen, we can get into all that.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't want to take anything like. You can just go through the whole questions and everything, and we can just take it easy.
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched or listened to any of these before, but I post up and let people know who the next guest is, and then they can post questions. I'm sure you'll be well aware there are loads of questions here for us to get through. First off, how long do you have?
How long do I have tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I don't know until we get bored.
Right. Okay. Just to warn you, these can go on sometime.
Yeah, just to warn you, I can talk forever about this kind of stuff.
We might break a record tonight.
Yeah, I always tell everybody in advance. Like the last interview with this German guys, I had to they had to cut me off then at some point. We have to it's already 2 hours. Usually we just do 1.5.
Yeah, well, these have gone. I think the record so far is 3.5 hours. Let's see.
But do people actually listen to that? Done 3.5 hours? Yeah,
I think you seem to get a real mix of people with podcasts. You get those who love the longer the better, and they tend to be like truckers, delivery drivers.
Absolutely.
Painters, trades, people that spend a lot of time just working, and they can plug headphones in and just listen. So they love all that. And then you get the YouTube brigade who want everything in 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
Yeah, oh man. No, but you're right. Actually, when I was working my day job as a gardener, then I also listen to podcasts all the time, and that works for me too, like the long ones. Actually, yes, you're right. Yeah, it works. Well, I never listened to 3 hours, but
but you can break them down, can't you? You can listen to a bit and then stop, do other things, come back to it.
It's
I really like.
Cool.
I like the podcast. It's just it's weird, isn't it? It's like it's something.
No, I'm really into it too. Like as of I don't know, a couple of months ago, I'm really started getting into the podcasting. It took me a while.
Do you listen to music or podcasts when you're on the bike?
No, not at all. No, nothing. It's just driving and thinking about the next scene. It's just for me, it's like when I'm driving, like a travel day. It's just all about the filming and video. It's all about I have that would distract me so much listening to music. I just and the time flies anyways. I ran out of day so fast every day. I'm never bored or anything like that.
I always like that. I remember back when I was doing my trip, it was a good 3/4 of the way around. I was definitely in the Americas, probably Central America, before I started listening to music. Before that, I'd never ever
when
listen
you
to music.
Just go straight the whole day. There's nothing to film, there's nothing to think about. I totally understand, and it's just going straight. I would totally do the same for sure.
Right, let's get into this. Folks, if you haven't picked up on this already, this is Mark from Marc Travels. I think this is episode 112, I think. But Mark,
I read it in the...
Welcome to Brewtime.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
If you have a little drink at hand there, excellent.
I got my coffee.
Excellent. Here's to your health. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually don't. I mean, I used to drink a lot. I'm a musician for like 15 years, and I've toured in my 20s. I toured with a hard rock band, like quite a lot, like 60, 70 shows a year, and as you can imagine, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That was really the game there, And I had my fair share of alcohol, and at some point, I went into myself and I'm like, okay, you can't do this forever. You have to stop at some point. And then as soon as the touring got a bit less after COVID hit, then I also stopped drinking completely, like for like a year or so, or 2 years now.
Yeah.
I didn't drink, not because, like I really wanted it. It's just like, there was no, like, I just didn't drink anymore. And then I was like, okay, yeah, that's it for me now.
Yeah, I was like that. I think I drove. I think I drunk fairly regularly till I was in my, I would say, early 30s. Actually, it was when I started riding a motorbike. I passed my bike test, and then I was just like, well, I just wouldn't drink. I'm not going to drink if I'm going to be riding, and that was it. So now the only time I drink now is like once a week for this podcast, and like if I'm away on a bike trip in the evenings, I might have a couple of beers then. That's about it, really.
Yeah. And that's, when I'm traveling, then there's no way I can even have like the way I do it with the filming and the editing and every day, like no way I can have a beer. Like if I have one beer, I'm not waking up the next morning, like after 4 hours sleep.
I was interested. I mean, I was thinking to tackle this later on in the podcast, but we may as well go now, as it's just come up. Like I was watching all your vids as you were going around the UK there, and it's an incredible work ethic you've got. You literally film that day, and then that evening you're into your B&B, your Airbnb, whatever it is wherever you're staying for the night,
or tent,
and you literally just sort of lock yourself away and you work, edit, get that done, and then have a few hours sleep. Back up the next day. Now, what was going through my mind was, Jesus, are you going to be able to do that all the way through the world trip? Because that is a heck of a work ethic.
Yeah, that is like, I mean, like with the last trips, it was like I always, like since I'm doing this like motovlog thing, I always did it that way.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed in the last trips was that I also uploaded it like right the next day. Before I just, had my schedule, like 2 videos a week. And that felt at some point, it didn't feel good because for the people, they didn't know it wasn't live. You know what I mean? Like you post that video, like 2 videos a day, but you're riding like 5 or 6 days, a week. And for the people it was like, okay, he's there right now. And I was always like, that was always weird for me. Like, do I tell them now that this was already over like a month ago, or like, do I keep the illusion up? And then I was like, the only way I can, like feel better about it is like when I do it really in like real time, that was, and so I decided to upload it as well the next day. And that works out well for like, the last journeys, they were like a month and a half, or like the last journey to England and to UK and Ireland was, I think, 7 weeks. And that worked okay. And but I'm sure I can't, like, I can't do this forever. Like this is, I know this, and as Marie, like my girlfriend is coming now with me on this world journey. And as soon as you have somebody else with you, then it's over anyways that way, we have to take more days off, and I will be using those off days to edit. And but then we'll like upload, like as soon as I edit the video, it will go online straight away. That will stay like that. But I'm sure it's not going to be videos every day. That is just not going to happen if you're traveling, with your girlfriend. That is just not like she's gonna walk away like after
exactly
a few days if I would do it like that.
That's like, what I was thinking. Is that once Marie joins you, and then once you're, what it's like anyway. You're a seasoned traveler as it is, but as you meet people, when you go, people want to come and stay with me, and I remember on my trip, you go to somebody's house, and in my head I'm like, oh, I've got stuff to do. I've got to edit. I've got like social media to try and keep up with, and you can't when you get to somebody's house. It's just like that's you for the night. You end up just socializing with people.
No, that's it. There's no work done when you meet people. Like when I did that, like right when I came to England, I was a bit lost. I felt, I don't know. I came with the ferry early in the morning, and I was like, oh man, what do I do here? Like what now? Because I never plan anything.
Yeah.
Like there was just no plan. I was just like, okay, now I'm really lost here. And then luckily a lot of people messaged me beforehand, and then one of them was Matt. Now he's my friend, and then he made that offer that I can stay at his house, and I did. And and he saw firsthand how it is, like I stayed there for two days.
Yeah.
And then like the second day I was just like basically like 4 or 5 hours locked away in his office. And I was like editing the video, but it was really awesome. When you have time for like 2 or 3 days to meet with somebody, then it's really cool. Then you can put that together somehow. But for one night, it's just impossible. Yeah. Like when I did that before, I just had then this one night and, was chatting, and it was awesome. And then when I went off the next day, I just, drove like a few kilometers or something, and then I just found the next campsite, and then I started editing the video before I then moved on to the next trip. Because for me it's always like, so every travel day I have to complete it has to be done, and then I can move on to the next day. You know what I mean? It's like I press the upload button, I delete all the footage, and then I move on to the next.
Do you delete everything as you go?
Everything. I just keep a copy of the finished video.
Yeah.
But on a hard drive and on YouTube it is anyways. But everything else goes in the bin right away. Right away. Like I never go through that footage ever again. It's just junk.
I've got everything. I've kept everything.
Oh wow. I've got I know many people do that. They keep everything.
But you're right.
Wow.
You're never going to use it until you need it, and then you're like, aha, I've still got that, and you can go back and grab it.
that is cool. That really is cool. I won't have that. That's not going to happen for me. But for me, it's like I have these memories, like most of I have the memories for myself, and everything else that I thought in that moment is. Important is on YouTube anyways, the best of the best is on YouTube anyways.
Yeah, I get you.
If somebody, wants to know something about that time, then you just watch that video. That is the best of the day. There's no better footage than that.
Yeah.
That's what I think. But, and I have the original files from that movie, like short films.
Yeah. So you're also you're very much using YouTube as like a personal record of your adventures as well.
Absolutely. That's basically like all it is for me. Like what I get out of it is like the people that I meet in the community. I love the positive how do you say, like, it's a very positive group of people on YouTube. I have the feeling there's no negativity, like as much as on other social media platforms, for example. I love that. And the people I have met through YouTube, that is great. And for me, it's like, sometimes I go back and watch an old video or, and it's like, oh, that was awesome, and I already feel like that now. And imagine in 10 years, I look back at those videos and I was like, okay, or in 20 years or whatever, showing my children or whatever. That is for me, that is the coolest thing in the world. That's a big thing for me. That makes this YouTube thing so special. That I have this and can look back on it like way back. And I'm not like the videos are mostly about me and what I did anyways. I don't do much of like tutorials or anything. It's just about me anyway. So it's like daily diary, if you want it like that. It's just it's just a diary if you want to see it like that.
It's interesting what you said about you can look back in 10 years, because I'm in that position. I'm 10 years down the road, and
when you did your world journey on the GSX,
and people talk to me about it, and I haven't watched my videos. No, and part of me doesn't want to, because it's 10 years ago. It's 10 years ago in technology. It's 10 years ago me. It's 10 years ago in my editing capabilities. And it's like, it's going to be shit. But it's like...
It's what you felt in that moment, it's what you look at. That's how I feel. It's like, I look at the pictures and it's like, and I know exactly how I felt in that moment, when I said something, when I... it doesn't really matter, how, it's all about what was the feeling of that day, there's also a reason why I want to edit right away, because I get off the bike in the evening and I know exactly what I wanted or what happened this day and how I feel. And I edit the way I feel that day. If I have a bad day, if I feel sad, the video is going to be a bit sadder, or, or if I had a bad day, then, maybe the video is not as good. Or, if the day was super long and I didn't sleep or whatever, then this is all the part of the thing that makes it, that puts in it's like when you write a song, it's the same thing for me. It's like when you write a song, you're in that moment, you're in the studio or at home, whatever. And this is the way the song will sound. Yeah. And for me, this is the same with the video. That makes the magic, a little bit for me. And that's why, a video for me cannot take longer than 3 or 4 or 5, like 5 hours maximum, that's the max amount of time. And that's what it is then, With music, it was the same, you have that certain amount of time in the studio, and then the song had to be done, There's no unlimited time, and this way, it's that way you always have a little bit of an edge in the videos, because you have like, okay, you have to be done now, and it has to be like a bit, and that way it really works for me. Like, maybe that is why I do it the way I do it, because I'm like used to it as a musician. I did it in a similar way.
Yeah, it's definitely so much easier to edit at the time, like, as you said, within a day or two of what you filmed, because as you said, it's all fresh in your head, and you can remember what went on, you can remember what you felt, you can remember what are the highlights throughout that day. So you've not got, you don't have to just wade through footage a lot of the time and go, right, that's a good bit, that's a good bit, blah, 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 boom. I do it totally the wrong way. I'm probably.
So how do you film everything and then you come home and when you do a longer trip?
It all depends. If I'm just away by myself, then I'm on and off the camera all the time. But I still, I'll still finish the day with 6 hours of footage, or 5 hours of footage, and then I have to chop my way through that and try and get it down to 15, 20 minutes.
That must take a long time.
Yeah. For me, a quick video is 3 days, solid days to get a video. Yeah. But
really,
I've also, if I film something, especially like a tutorial type or an installation type of vid, I'm putting something onto my bike. So if I'm filming it and then I come straight in at the end of the day, and either the next day I sit down and I edit, I can get that done in a day, no problem. Yeah. But because it's all fresh in your mind and it's so much quicker, for sure. That's the way to do it. But I've got, at the moment, I'm just going through an editing marathon at the moment. I'm wading through 2 years of footage going back. Like, there's probably a good 4 to 6 months worth of videos that I've got that I haven't edited, and I just need
that you already filmed.
Yeah. But just loads of trips.
But you have then a little do you make like little notes at least no. You just have the footage.
I have the footage, and I have to sort of run through it in my mind and go, okay, I can kind of remember. I remember that day, so I'll look for the highlights. But obviously, you don't remember everything, do you? Especially if it goes back 2 years. It's like, or like for me, I go to the Canaries a lot. One of my main sponsors on the channel is a tour company based in the Canaries. So I've got at least 2 tours that I've not edited yet, and they're both very similar. So you're like, oh, which one was this? Which?
Oh, wow.
It's my own fault. I should edit quicker. How do you edit? Do you edit on an iPad, a tablet?
iPad, yeah. Everything on iPad. Everything. Wow. I actually now prefer it to a laptop. Like it's so much faster. It's like, for me, that's the only logical way to edit videos, because the whole structure an iPad is built, like they are made for that. They handle video files so much different. I mean, the new MacBooks with their new chip, I think theirs different. They have like a similar way of processing videos.
Yeah.
But normal computers, they edit videos so much different. Like they process videos so much different to an iPad. Like, for example, you put everything on like you work with native files all the time. Like I have my videos in the library, and that's the videos I'm working with. Like this is just, there's no rendering times or whatever. It's just so fast. There's 4K videos, like it's incredible, really. And I don't even have a Pro iPad. I just have the little iPad Air,
Really?
And yeah.
Jesus. I've just bought the new MacBook Pro. I bought that a couple of months ago, and oh my God, it's so much quick. I had a 2015 one before, and I was like 5 days to render. If I had 360 footage and multiple layers of 4K footage, it was like 5 days sometimes. It's like, this is ridiculous.
No, like my videos, like a 10-minute video renders in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. No, it's insane. And there's no crashes and there's no nothing. This is just like, I can't afford a computer crash, like I can't, it never happened. And otherwise I couldn't do it. Like if the iPad would crash, there wouldn't be a video the next morning, that's just so easy. It's incredible. I love it, and, I transfer everything. Like it's easy with these little cameras that I have, the little
goes,
that goes on the helmet. Yeah. They take always a little bit longer because I have to transfer it via Wi-Fi because you have to go in the app with that, and that's a bit silly because that crashes sometimes a little bit. But with the other, just SD card in an SD card reader, and then you're good to go. And it's really like, I was about to sell my MacBook, but I don't get so much money anymore for that. Like not as much as I would have liked to. So I'm keeping it, for stuff like that. Like,
gotcha.
When you really like have to make a live stream or whatever, or that is done better still.
So what software are you using to edit then?
LumaFusion, it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is brilliant.
I use Final Cut Pro, but obviously they don't do the iPad version of that yet. They keep saying they're going to. I don't
understand it. Like I don't. I mean, because they have iMovie. That also works, but it's just a little too
basic.
Too basic, and LumaFusion is like, for me, is the exact amount of, like, it gets better and better with every update. You get more and more stuff. It's like almost like Final Cut Pro now. It's not much of a difference anymore. Just, some features are a little bit less maybe, but I don't really need much features, What I need is there. I can process audio. I can, I can edit like super quick with the touch screen, that is like, this is amazing. It's I love it so much. I'm not sponsoring, but I just like it.
But it makes sense, it makes sense if you're traveling to have that ability to edit like that, because I take my MacBook with me when I go away on a trip, and it's still a big old chunky bit of kit.
Absolutely, it's so big.
Yeah, as opposed to a little
so little. Yeah. No, I have the 13-inch MacBook, and it's still big. Yeah. I don't want to bring that. The battery sucks. I edited a whole video on one charge on the iPad. Imagine that. A whole video on one charge.
That's incredible.
You can't imagine that on a MacBook.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, crikey.
It's incredible. No, that works really well for me. Absolutely.
Right, Mark, I just realised we've not introduced you, have I? We've not introduced you to the actual podcast.
It's okay. I think it's cool that to just jump in right away. You know, Joe Rogan does it the same way. You know, they're just in the conversation. I love that.
Can I for the benefit of those that don't know who you are, most people obviously will tune in because they're well aware of who you are and what you're in the process of doing. But can I pass it over to you just to say, who are you? And why are you here?
I'm Marc Travels, and I'm here at the podcast because we didn't make it to meet up in person. No, I'm a motorcycle traveler like you are, and I'm here at this podcast because my recent travel was to the UK on an electric motorcycle, and that caught your interest very much.
Certainly did.
And this is how we got to know each other. And now I'm like about to go on a big, probably my biggest journey at around the world on the same electric motorcycle. And I'm taking my girlfriend. That is going to be very exciting. And,
so it's a zero. It's a zero. Which one have you got? The SRS?
SRF.
SRF. So you've got the Zero SRF electric bike, and you're taking that around the world. I hate you because that was my plan. I've been riding electric for about 4 or 5 years now, and in the last couple of years, I've been like, I think we're getting to the stage where maybe you could do this. I think maybe you could do it. And I was chatting away to English Electric, and I was like, nobody's taking one of these around the world. And it was like, ooh.
That's what I thought.
And then you came.
That's what I thought. I mean, for me, it's like I'm always very like, I mean, I had the idea, not the idea. I mean, I saw you and Charlie doing it.
Yeah.
In South America, and I was like, that was just incredible for me, like to see that. And I mean, and back then I didn't even have my YouTube channel, I just then started to, travel with my old Honda Dominator, and then I had so much trouble with it, and I was like, that was the original plan, to go around the world with that motorcycle. That was the original plan. But then I had trouble with it, and this was just, it was just annoying for me. And I didn't really want to open up the engine again. And then I came home from my journey from the North Cape, and then I came home and was like, okay, I have to do this now. And that was really quick, actually. I was just looking on eBay Marketplace and was like, yeah, can I find some? And then, then I found 2 SRFs, and one of them was available, and I was like, okay, I'm taking it. And then I bought it right away. It was, and I never, I didn't even look into electric motorcycles much,
Wow.
No, I knew I was going to do that because I loved the idea, and for me, it was like, okay, I need to have like the quick charger, and I need to have it has to be a little powerful. I mean, okay, no, actually it was a bit different. It was, when I had the idea, and for me it was clear I want to do this, then I reached out to brands. And to any brand, basically. Also smaller ones with smaller bikes, with the exchangeable batteries and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I thought, okay, that might also work, and it does, that girl that is in Africa right now and on the electric bike.
I didn't know there was one.
It's cool. How is her name? Sinja Gottwald or something like that. She's in Africa right now on an electric motorcycle.
Wow.
And she has the exchangeable batteries. And, that would have also been an option for me. But yeah, nobody even, actually Zero was the only company that replied. The others didn't even bother to reply, but they didn't want to give me Zero didn't want to give me a motorcycle. And they also didn't tell me that they would bring out this adventure motorcycle like a month later after I wrote them, but it doesn't matter. This Zero that I found now, my Eve, that was kind of affordable, it was powerful and affordable, and Energica. I would have loved an Energica probably, but that like even used, they were kind of expensive.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are a lot more expensive.
If you can get one, it's hard. They are hard to get here in Germany at least. And yeah, basically, and then Zero was the only thing that was available for me at that time, because I didn't want to wait like until winter or then after winter. This was just I had to have it now. And then I found that bike and it was okay. I like somehow got the money and then I bought her, and then I didn't even test it really. Like my only test was the way from the dealer to my home. That was like 600 kilometers. That was my first ride.
And then you just hit the road.
Yeah, and then I just hit the road. Like 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, I just hit the road to the UK. Yeah.
To the UK.
Just seeing it, how that's, I like that to learn it on the way. Like I didn't know I knew that I can charge basically anywhere in Western Europe because it's everywhere. Like you know that, that, I get that people that don't ride the electric bikes or drive electric cars, they don't see the stations because they don't look for them. They don't know that they're there. But the moment you like they're on your radar, then the moment you realize that, you see them everywhere.
Yeah,
because they are everywhere.
Absolutely.
I have this little TomTom navigation now, and they show you the charging points and on the map, like, and they're literally everywhere, like everywhere.
And Google Maps shows them as well now, doesn't it?
That when you look for them, like when you type in like type 2 charger or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Then it shows up, but not. I like that better now that I always see them. And with in the sat nav, I always see them everywhere now.
It's kind of reassuring then, though, isn't it? It could be, even if you don't need it, you know that they're there. Yeah, for sure.
But I have the new battery now, and I did a test ride yesterday, 350 kilometers. And it was really cold. It was almost freezing outside, and I worked amazing. I have a way better like range now in the freezing cold than I had when it was like summer with the old battery, with the broken one.
You got 350 kilometers?
No, not one. No, the whole trip yesterday was 350 kilometers. No. But yesterday I got like an easy 170 kilometers. That was awesome. Like I never had that before, like in the summer. And I'm sure when the temperatures are like, when it's warm and stuff,
it'll go up.
I get like over 200 kilometers now, easy. For sure. I don't know yet. I'll have to try it. but again,
there's no point in worrying about it, is there? Like you said,
not.
in Western Europe, you will always find a charger at some point.
Everywhere.
The adventure will begin when you move outside of Western Europe.
Absolutely.
But everywhere has electricity, don't they?
Yeah.
So, like, if you need to power, if you need to charge, you'll find something.
That's what I think. People, like even in Germany, people are now worried about, the power shortages, like the media drives people nuts about it right now in Germany. It's like, like you see this, newspaper articles, like electric cars are not allowed to charge anymore because of power shortage. And, the media is just so fucking nuts, like every day I don't have to listen to the news. This is a good day.
I don't watch the news anymore. I don't read papers. No. I don't go online and look at any news. I'm just like,
it's the best I'm not interested thing you can do. Yeah. No, dude, it just brings you down, It's
totally.
Like, it makes you sad and makes you sick at some point. It's the best thing is when you really like, that's what I love about traveling, because you don't have the news, like, because you don't, like, when you're on the bike the whole day, there's no news.
Yeah. And you're out there. I've said it time and time again on this podcast and with other people who've traveled that have been on here. When you travel, you meet all these people from different countries and different cultures and, different religions, and you meet them one-on-one. You're not meeting them via the news and the media and them telling you what to think about people. You're meeting
people
them
are
yourself.
good.
People are good. Yeah, we're all the same.
I tell and people from that one country will always tell the people from the other country don't go there, those like Germany, the Polish, or they're all thieves, and all this this stuff. But as a matter of fact, like they're all like, people are good, and you get help everywhere. You get sure, I can only speak for the countries that I've been, but you have seen way more countries than I have, and I'm sure you would agree on that. Like people are friendly and want to help.
And often you'll find the people. Again, we've said this time again, the people with the least sort of material possessions, the least money, they're almost the ones that give more, and they're even more welcoming to you. It's literally, people will break bread with you and offer you half. Yeah, it's a very humbling experience, and because it changes you.
Because you know what it is? It is like, they're not afraid, because people that have a lot, they are so afraid of losing it.
Yeah,
and they're so afraid. And people that, like people that don't have much, they are not afraid of you. They approach people, they're just, they're just, they are just happy with what they got, and for them, they already realize that it makes them more happy to share something than people that have a lot, maybe.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. 100%.
I'm not everybody for sure, but I that's what my experience that I got, from meeting very rich people, or even, even in friends and family, they, people are scared,
like there will always be outliers, and although we're saying everybody is good, there are a couple of people out there who aren't. But, that's human nature, isn't it? And they're the ones that make the news. And they make the news because they're not the norm.
Good people don't make the news.
Exactly. It's not a news story, is it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, listen, dude, we better start firing through questions here, because there are a lot for us to get through.
Let's get to work.
Right, let's do it. Okay, so first of all, we'll head to the clan over on Patreon, patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Patrick Collum. So, a question for you both, but gently blowing bubbles up Bruce's bum in the process. So far this year, I've been having a weekend in Glasgow to the Intermezzo pub via Average Bikers in a Cave. Okay, they're another podcast, bunch of Scottish guys. Followed by a kebab shop hunt. Well, that's something that me and another guy have done. To a small capacity day out with hire bikes with friends. Again, something that we've done on videos. And albeit already had planned to go, but subsequently have been on a tour with Biker Maya in Wales. She's a lady on Instagram that does tours. So to get to the point, who or what has inspired you to try some things you wouldn't normally do outside of your bigger goals, and what snared the proverbial hook for you? So who's your inspiration to do stuff?
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I'll just bring it to the motorcycle travel thing here now. I think that would be the most interesting. Yeah, I mean, I watch the same people on YouTube that my viewers are watching. I feel like we're all having the same idols.
Yeah,
in a way, we're all watching. I watch. I used to, when I got into this whole YouTube motorcycle thing, I think Norali was the first channel I found. I mean, obviously, probably that was the first thing that came up, and I was like just binge watching her stuff, and I was like, man, that is insane what she's doing. And she was definitely a huge inspiration. What this whole motorcycle thing, with this travel thing with the motorcycle, and also Pietro Mota, same thing. When I found him, I was like watching his stuff, and and so on, and then Charlie Sinuwan is like, these guys, they're pushing the limit so much of what they can do. I'm not doing that. As of now, I'm like super don't go. I don't do crazy off-road stuff, or I don't do I don't do crazy things in general, you know, like
yet.
Yeah, I might do, but for me, that is like, I'm looking way up to those guys, you know, because they are pushing the limits really. So yeah, I would say they are my like big idols for me, and yeah, then it's also, it's hard to say because I have there's so much stuff that influences me, you know, like on a daily basis, basically, like, especially when I'm out on the road, then like there's so much things that give me an idea, or like, you know, like I meet a cool person and that inspires me to do something or whatever. But yeah, it's hard to, like, from the video making kind of view. There's this guy Casey Neistat.
I was gonna say, your piece to cameras when you set a camera up and then you come and look at it. That's very Casey.
Yeah. I mean, like this guy is like insane. You know, also with this daily videos. I mean, he invented that. Absolutely. You know, and I was super inspired by that. I found that very, very cool, and and yeah, it's I think that's for now, that's like all I can think of right now. And of course, I mean, Hune and Charlie, you know, like when I was a child, or basically a child, I was like 15 or 14 or something like that when they did the Long Way Round. I think so. And I saw that, it just like blew my mind, you know. They were like the absolute heroes for me. I was like watching that over and over again, still watch that over and over again, like basically before every trip. You know, I have my Apple TV just because I can watch the Long Way Round, the Long Way Down, and Long Way Up on Apple TV. That's the only reason I have Apple TV subscription.
Do you know, I've still not watched Apple Up yet. I've not seen it. I've seen I've seen Long Way Round and Long Way Down, but I've still not seen Long Way Up yet. But yeah, they were the inspiration for me. I saw them do Long Way Round, and it was like, wow, I've got to do that. That looks amazing.
Yeah, right. I mean, that when you say, when was your trip? When you
2012 to 2014.
Yeah. Okay. That is like, I don't know, when was that Long Way Round?
I think that was 2000. Was it 2004? 2002, 2004, something like that.
I was 14 then.
Yeah.
That must be it. And I can see that. So, and then, but what made you go then when you decided to do that long?
I saw Long Way Round and thought that looks awesome, but I didn't ride a bike or anything at the time, and I'd never really done much travel. Fast forward about 5 years, 6 years. My mum was in the last stages of cancer, of fighting cancer, and Long Way Round just came on the TV. You know, it was repeated on one of the channels, on the cable channels on TV, and I was sat on the couch in my flat with my mum, and I just started moaning, saying, you know, it's all right for them with all that money, you know, the camera crews, blah 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 blah. And she just said, look, you've always spoke about travel, you've always spoke about riding a bike, you've never done it. Don't get to my stage where you face the end and you regret what you've not done in life. Look after those that you love, but live your life. And it just sort of catapulted me. I booked, we can do a thing in the UK called DAS, Direct Access. So as long as you're over, I think it's 24 years of age, you can do like an intensive week-long course and go from zero to hero with a bike. You can go from never riding to having full access to any bike. If you're younger than that,
really, that is so cool.
If you're younger than, I think, 24, you have to do in different mod 1 and mod 2. But I could just go straight in. So I paid for my direct access and I did it. Passed my test. Passed my test about 5 days before Mum died, before she lost her battle, and she basically just made me promise that I would do my trip. So she died in 2008, and then on her birthday, 1st of October in 2012, I left to go. So
how long did you go?
All in 442 days I was away for in total. But after it went a bit wrong for me in West Africa. So after about 6 or 7 weeks, I ended up back in London Just because I just had a bad time. I ended up getting robbed a load in West Africa, and it was just bad timing. So I ended up back in the UK for a little bit and did me a favour because I managed to pick up a sponsor who sort of part funded. They basically said, how much do you need? I told them, and they said, right, we can put this amount on the table for you if you'll go. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, all right. So I went again in beginning of May. And that was it. I was back off. So in total, it was 442 days. Yeah.
You left the bike in Africa then, or
no? I shipped it back home, back to London, and I kind of thought that was the end of the dream. I thought that was the end of my trip, but I got the opportunity to go again, and it's like, right, so cool. Let's make it happen.
I mean, and back then, I think I can imagine that 10 years ago, it was also a bit harder to do this kind of stuff. I mean, I think like with everything, with like with the internet and the all the online stuff, I think everything is a bit easier now with the visa and all this. I think so.
Then you have COVID's happened, so obviously I think a lot of countries, there's still countries out there that are going through COVID restrictions, aren't there? So although we seem to be fairly free now in Europe, but like that sort of stuff was not an issue for me. Carnets were much simpler when I went. I think they seem to be a lot more complicated now. There was only for the UK there was only one organization that you needed to use for a carnet, whereas now I think it's gone private, I believe. So there seems to be lots of different options.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that when I get to that. Like,
sorry, go on.
I have the good thing, we don't have like a time pressure or anything. Like if something takes longer, then we'll just wait it out.
So you've not said to yourself, right, I'm going to be away for a year, I'm going to away for 2 years. It's literally however long this is going to take.
I think it's like 2 years is like we calculate with, like, I don't know, like 2 years. We always say like it's going to be 1-2 years. That's like until we are in like New Zealand. That's like our first like goal, that we have. Like we want to get to New Zealand because Marie is from New Zealand, and she has family there, and it would be like cool. Like that was the original idea. We wanted to the first time I visited New Zealand together with Marie, we spent a little bit over a month there, and it was like, yeah, I want to live here. I'm gonna live here. We are gonna live here. Yeah. And then when that was when the idea came up, then I'm gonna drive the motorcycle to New Zealand. And this is how I go to New Zealand. And then Marie's like, well, fuck off. You're not doing this alone. like I want to come. I'm coming with you.
I want some fun.
This is how it's like, okay, it's probably going to take us like 6-7 weeks or whatever. And it's like, okay, but then Marie, like I had her on the motorbike every now and then when, like when she came visit, when I was in Iceland or when I was in Norway, she came visit, and then she sat on the motorcycle for a day or whatever. And then we figured out, okay, that's not what she would enjoy. She wouldn't like that, going around the world like that. And then we went to Greece. We were in Naxos in Greece on an island, and then we rented these quad bikes. These little sketchy quad motorcycles, and it's like, oh, that would be so cool if you would get one of these quad motorcycles, and I'm on the motorcycle, we're going around the world like that. And then we realized, okay, this is probably super hard for Marie. Then driving these things the whole day, like even the bigger ones, is like exhausting to drive them. They're hard work, kind of, and. Like also when you have to move them around and all this, and then we're like, okay, that's not gonna happen. So what can we do? Okay, she has to drive a car, and then we bought her this little Suzuki Jimmy, and we put a rooftop tent on it, and then it was like, okay, that could be our home actually, like, and then it was like, okay, we can really stay on the road for like however long we want to, because Marie can work from at home. Like since COVID, she's a PT and she works from home. like trains the clients on webcam.
Right.
And yeah, it's really cool. And so she can now work from everywhere. And for me, it's like, okay, I'll make videos, I can, I can, like, luckily, I was so lucky with YouTube that happened so fast.
Yeah, you certainly triggered the algorithm. You sort of went not zero, but you went from a mediocre not mediocre, but you know what I mean? You went from a relatively small following to
from really small. Like last year, like last year, the same time last year, I didn't even have 1,000 subscribers.
Wow.
No, it's crazy. Like, no, and then I started, and I, like, last year, like, about this time now, like, probably, imagine it was the 16th or something last year, a year ago, I started on my old Honda Dominator to Portugal. And I published the first video of that trip right after I hit the 1,000 subscribers, and I got monetized and all this, and then I published the video around, like, it was in between Christmas and New Year's, and I published that video, and before I had, like, if I had 1,000 views, that would be like, that would have been insane. I published the videos and it went like 5,000 views, 10,000 views, 40,000 views, like on the same day.
Jesus.
I was like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And so did the subscribers. Like I had like 10,000 subscribers within 1 week.
Wow.
Like, it's insane. So, like, for me, it was like a little bit, like, really from zero to yeah, then I was very quick at 30,000 subscribers, and then it, like, slowed down a little bit. Like, and then now it goes with every tour, basically. Like, the moment I stop uploading videos, then YouTube stops. Kind of, this is a bit, YouTube is a bit rough.
Yeah, it's a bit fickle, isn't it? Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man.
It almost compels you to keep creating content, to keep chucking
I think that's the problem with many YouTubers, that they burn out and all this, because, I mean, I'll face the same thing. When I was here in Berlin, I still, I had my music stuff, and I also had a day job on top of that. So when I got back home, I had work, I wasn't relying on YouTube or anything, but now it's going to be different. There's only YouTube. That's my only income source. There's no sponsors. Just, like, sometimes people buy a t-shirt, but, that's like a few euros that I get from that. And it's only YouTube, and this is going to be interesting as well. Like, that will pressure me maybe a little bit, I don't know.
Do you have a Patreon? Have you set up a Patreon?
Yeah, I had that, but it just scared me. Like, it was like, oh man, now I have this second thing. I have this second thing, then and I'm like, then I have to deliver content there as well, like, and for me, it was always I was always on the edge just with YouTube. And it was like with the videos that I do, like, every day, and it was like, oh, and then I have to, on top of that, also make stuff for Patreon. I don't know, like, it scared me. And then this membership came from YouTube.
Oh yes, yeah.
And now I have this is like, I mean, this is not much, but like, at some point there will be more and more, and then maybe it gives a little bit of a little buffer.
It's a difficult one. Like with Patreon, you can either give absolutely nothing extra, or you can give as much extra as you like. And I'm like you. I kind of feel if people are, Patreon's a big thing for me. It's over half my monthly income is just on Patreon itself. So I feel like I want to give more back to people, because they're going the extra mile for me. But you're right. It is, I mean, for you, when you're literally, you create content and it goes straight out. So there's like, for me, I'm doing like one vid a week roughly. So I can, if I get a vid done early, I can put it up to my patrons and let them see it a few days before. But you don't have that option.
I had that as a perk on the YouTube membership. And then at some point it was just so ridiculous. Like I was just sending out the videos to the member and then right away to the other ones. I was like, and then I told like to the post, I was like, sorry guys, it just makes no sense. You can all just watch it right away.
Yeah, but I mean, the people who choose to support you on things like membership or Patreon or whatever, however they choose to do it, they're supporting you because they like you. They're not expecting anything in return.
That's what they said then to me. That I really like that. That was really nice. I mean, it's like I don't have like, I think the biggest I have is like €3.90 or something, and usually they do €1 a month. I think it's okay. That doesn't hurt anybody. That's good, but it will eventually add up. Then at some point, like if you have 1,000 members, then it's okay. Okay, you can. I mean, YouTube keeps a lot. But. It's just how it is, that's just the game. And I'm pretty sure that at some point there will be coming in like sponsors or something like that and even if it's just, for a video or something like that, like for 10 seconds in the video or stuff like that, at some point that will happen, and if I do that once in a while, I think they won't get mad or anything, and just,
I think you will really see a massive input and increase in your views and your subs and your reach once you're on the road again, because you could see during the UK trip, it was just going on an exponential level.
Absolutely, that's what I said. And the moment you stop, it's like it stops immediately. The views stop. Like for me, the views stop. And subscribers stop, and sometimes you do like that was so cool that Norali asked me to do the interview. That gave me a little push again. When we did the interview, that was amazing. That she, I mean, when I found out that she watches the videos, that made me so happy, really, because I look up to her, and then I found out she watches the videos and was like, oh wow, that's so cool.
Brilliant. And, she's pretty special, isn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and that helped when we did that interview, but now it's like, it stops. But I know as soon as I'm going on back again, there will be views, there will be, and then I will have the income again. So it's going to work out somehow, it will always work out.
Absolutely. You'll be fine.
Absolutely.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's going to be really a special time, like I've never done stuff like this, I never, like I moved a lot, I always moved somewhere, when there was a gig or when there was like a new band, I moved to that city, but I always had a home, and
now you're literally like, were you homeless?
Nothing. Yeah, it says on my ID card, it's like it doesn't say homeless, but it says without a home.
Yeah. Wow, it's official.
Yeah, it's crazy. That is a crazy feeling, really. But yeah, I think it's super exciting, but I have the advantage that I don't have to do it alone. Like I'm with Marie. That I don't know. Like I think I would have done it alone like 2 or 3 years ago. But as of now, I didn't really want to do it alone anymore.
Did you not?
You know what I mean? No, because I would miss her a lot. Like we would have to arrange that we meet up and stuff. Eventually I would just get really sad and lonely, I think. I mean, of course you meet people, and I know that at some point you're just in the zone, and I always had the first few days are always the worst, and then you're like, humans, we get used to everything. But for me, it was like, where's the point? I don't want to be alone for 2 years. I want to be with her. That's important. And like we said before, it's so much better if you can share with people, and I share with, thousands, of people, but the most important thing is like that Marie watches the video. It was always for me the most important. And I had the most fun editing when Marie was in the videos. You know, that was for me, that was and I love those, you know, I watch those videos, you know, it cracks me up every time, you know, when I watch these videos. And that's what I want, you know, I want Marie in the videos. I want her with me when I'm traveling, and I think that's gonna be it's gonna make the video so much more fun. I can promise you that already. Like it's gonna be so much fun just because her as a character in the video it's gonna be hilarious. 100%.
It's almost 100%. Like it's two totally different experiences of the same trip, though, isn't it? There's you solo on an electric motorcycle, which in itself is well, it's new. There isn't anyone that's done a trip like you plan to do on an electric bike. And then there's Marie doing it in a 4x4, but she's not alone. You're not alone. Either of you are alone, but you are alone, isn't it? It's a weird
because you have this perspectives, you know, of these, you know, I'll think about it a lot. And then, you know, as a creator or as an artist, you question yourself every day, basically, you know, you question yourself, is that the right thing to do? Like, is that even, you know, then is it even cool when you have like, you know, like when you're not doing it as a solo, you know, solo motorcycle adventure, you know, blah, blah, blah. Is that even cool? And then it always gets back to, yeah, of course it is, you know, because we can basically then do, you know, there can be so many sides of that journey, you know, like we can, you know, there can be videos, you know, us together traveling, you know, I can, you know, maybe I will go off by myself for a day or two, you know, like goes places where I can't bring her, or we just, you know, there will be opportunities where we just, you know, set up camp somewhere and then we just do like day trips to special places on the motorcycle because we bring Marie's gear as well. So we can do trips together, you know, and I think that can be anything, you know, and since you know, I don't really have a goal in this trip other than doing it. You know what I mean? There's no, you know, around the world in 80 days or first guy on an electric motorcycle around the world. It's not my approach, you know, like I would be loving it if you would beat me to it, you know, like, because I think 100% you could do it much, much faster than I would do it. I mean, you go around the UK in 3 days. It took me like a month, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, there were two totally different trips, weren't they? They were totally
absolutely different. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So even if you know, if you would do it now with an electric, it would be something totally different, you know? And that's why I would watch that. If you would do that, I would totally watch it every day.
The thing for me, it would be, if I were to try it, it would be to try and get around as quick as possible, purely because you know I can't be away for a year, 2 years. Again, really, you know, like
how
I have a wife and I have
like
my family base here now, and there's the whole job side of it. I don't really want to be away for that length of time again. You know, I feel like I've done it. I would like to do like a 6 month trip. Don't get me wrong. You know,
and you could do it in 6 months, probably.
I think you probably could. You'd have to do like the long way round route. You know, literally right round. I don't think you'd be able to do India and down through Southeast Asia, down to Australia and all the way up through. You couldn't do that. You'd just have to go straight around.
And I think you could, that would be, you could really find a good way to promote that. And you know, you could, like, if you have a plan, like a plan like that, you know, like I want to do this in like, I don't know, 3 months, you know, or whatever, 4 months. And you have this set plan. I think you could easily get like sponsors and all this, you know, if it was like a whole like big thing, like, because that would be like a world record kind of thing, you know, like something. I really think you shouldn't give up on that. You should really think about it. You should definitely, you do it on an Energica or something, you know, like, or whatever. What do you like best? Like, you have ridden them all, have you? Like,
I really like the Energicas. I like the whine off the Energica. They're really quite loud and vocal. I quite like them. I like the way I like the way they ride, but I also like the Harley Livewire. I like the way that rides.
Yeah.
It's really... Have you ridden the Livewire? The Harley?
No, I haven't ridden any other bike than my Eve.
Correct. Right.
The electric bike, yeah.
The Harley, in a weird way, I don't know how they've done it, but the Livewire feels a little bit like a Harley somehow.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I don't know how, because it's, a Harley vibrates and burps and farts, doesn't it, with its engine? Yeah. Whereas the Livewire is obviously an electric bike, but it has a different feel to it than any of the other electric bikes I've ridden. But I still think the Energica is my favourite, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, they look cool, the Energicas, and I mean, this naked kind of bikes, they have, they look really cool.
Yeah. The Xperia, the new touring one that the Energica have, that's a really good bike. That is really good.
Yeah, that looks also really cool. Yeah. But I mean, they just, when I bought Eve at the same weekend, they presented it. That was the same weekend they came out with the Xperia.
Yeah.
Because the dealer that sold me the Zero, he was at that day he was at the showcase for the Xperia.
Gotcha. But then Zero's just brought one out as well, haven't they? Zero's brought out their tourer.
Yeah. Big ass motorcycle, really. I mean, like I saw it, and it's way bigger than what I have. Like it's massive. Like I'm kind of glad I didn't go for it I didn't even know about it, because like what I experience now in the UK is like, it is so cool to have a like relatively small bike. I mean, it's heavy as shit, with the 200, like it's like 200 and a bit kilogram, the Zero, my Eve. It's really heavy, but it is kind of small, and low.
Uh-huh.
And that is really like, really makes a difference, when like you're not so exhausted, like chugging it around, or like just getting on and off all the time you film, and set camera somewhere and get on and off. It's so low. You can just, it makes, it's probably not for anybody, and it certainly is not the right bike for what I want to do. That everybody tells me that. I think they're right. It's not the bike you go around the world.
Don't listen to them.
100% not. But it is, for me, it's the right bike. It makes my life so much easier. Like, especially with the filming and with all this, and just the thought that I can just plug in wherever I am and just, like start the new day with the full tank without even, man, it was such a cool experience, the first trip already. And I always say that I never buy a normal bike ever again. I mean, never say never, but
me again, folks, just a short one. We are also sponsored this month by the Influencer Store. If you go to TeapotOne.com, you'll go to the shop, check out any of the merchandise that I have available. That is all handled by the Influencer Store right here in the UK. I've got a quick bit of blurb to read out for them, and that is: the Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. Make sure you check them out, folks. Head to TeapotOne.com, head to the shop, and you'll be supporting both the TeapotOne channel and the podcast right here if you buy anything from the merchandise. So a massive thanks in advance to you, and a huge thanks to the Influencer Store. And we're also sponsored by Ultimate Add-ons. Now, Ultimate Add-ons, they make dustproof and shockproof mobile phone cases and action camera mounts. They will fit just about every single bike out there. Me personally, I always use the Helix strap mount because it means I can easily attach that to just about any bike that I'm riding at that time. I can jump on and off on bikes and just easily unscrew the strap, whack it on the next bike, tighten it all up, and off I go. It's very versatile. I've had no vibration issues affecting my camera using the Helix strap. That's the one that I will stand by and swear by. Been using it about 5 years now. So again, if you head to Ultimate Add-ons, that's Ultimate with ADDONS, ultimateaddons.com. If you use the code TeapotOne10, so TeapotOne with the number 10, you'll get 10% off. And lastly, folks, I just want to say a massive thank you to you. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast, for watching the vids, for commenting, for liking, for sharing, for following and subscribing. It all is a massive, massive help. We're on a bit of an upturn at the moment. The podcast is gathering momentum. The channel is certainly doing really well. So a huge thanks to everybody who's been involved with that. If you want to go that extra mile, then you can always buy some merch over at TeapotOne.com. Or if you really want to get committed, you can join the clan over at patreon.com/TeapotOne. All links for everything are down below, folks. I appreciate any support in any form you can give. All right, then. That's enough with the beg and bowl. Let's get back to the podcast. There was something that was told to me in the build up to my trip, because obviously I did it on the Gixxer, which is fairly unusual. And people all said to me, "Oh, it's the wrong bike. It's the wrong bike. It's the wrong bike." But one person said to me, "Take the bike that makes you smile." And that is the best advice anyone ever gave me. You'll take the right bike for you. And because it's right for you, it might not be right for me, but it's right for you.
And I think it's now proven all over the world that literally can be done with any kind of bike or any vehicle for that matter. You know,
totally.
I mean, people go around the world on a unicycle. You know, like what's even there's no question that you can do it with any sort of motorcycle or
absolutely
whatever you feel like.
Totally.
That's what I think too. And for me, it feels so right to have this kind of motorcycle. It feels just so good. You know, I had this Honda Dominator, this loud single cylinder engine, you know, it was like, it's cool, you know, it makes you smile as well. But what I really love is this kind of stealth mode that you engage when you're driving an electric motorcycle. Like you show up somewhere, nobody even knows that you're there. You know what I mean? Like, I never knew that before, you know, when I was, you know, going somewhere with my Honda, you know, it was like made a big scene, like everybody was looking and just, oh shit, I just wanted to film something. Okay. You act normal now, everybody. But with Eve, it's not like that at all. You know, it's like people don't know you're there. I mean, in the traffic in the city, that's sometimes a little bit scary when they don't even see you, the people, but in general, I love that, you know, no more pushing out of the campsite early in the morning when you don't want to wake up everybody, you know.
Set on, twist your wrist and off you go.
Yes, it's incredible. I love that so much. Right. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think we have to go back to a question, right?
This will be question 2. An hour and 20 minutes in, we'll go for question 2. There's about 40 questions.
Wow. Oh, man.
Right, next one. Marc Fulcher. Hey, up me ducks. Nice to see another Mark being spelt the posh way with a C. I'm not going to harp on about how... Oh, God. Right, I'll let you know now, Mark, that this Mark, he speaks from the heart and there's no filter. He says exactly what he thinks, okay?
No, I mean, I'm used to that, from the YouTube comments.
Yeah. So he goes, I'm not going to harp on about how wank electric bikes are or how much I think Mark is genuinely going to struggle on his proposed trip, but I will wish him all the luck that the biking gods can offer. However, I do think they frown upon electric vehicles. So a couple of questions for you both. After the recent bike shows, which bikes are you most excited about getting your hands on in the new year? Well, you're going to be away, aren't you? So you're not going to...
I don't watch bike shows anyways. Like, I've never been at a bike show and I don't... Like, that is, you know... I just, you know, if I get my bike news from, I don't know, Instagram when I see a new bike pop up or something like that, but I have... no interest in buying another bike.
Other than Eve, what is like your poster bike then? What is like your Ferrari of bike? The bike that you go, I like that. I'd love one of them. I
really like the Africa Twin, the new ones.
Really?
No, I really like. I just like the optics, and I sat on one just recently, and they feel amazing. Really, you sit them and there's it feels really, really good.
I like the engine. It's a really nice, like, bum, 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 bum. It's a really nice engine.
Yeah, I've never ridden one. I just sat on one, but I just like the optics. That's. But yeah, there's so many beautiful bikes out there. There's. I really like. I have no. There's some bikes that I find super ugly and I would never buy. But
go on in. Which ones?
Yeah, for example, when we're at electric motorcycles, the other bikes, the little ones, the like enduro kind of zero bikes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, they're so ugly. Really, this is like because everybody was like, oh, this is the one you have to. I was like, oh no, this is just so ugly.
Not doing it for you.
This. I can't. I just can't. And there's a little and no, that I couldn't do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not a type. Like I never thought about it. I never think about this bike I would have to have or something like that. But never really. I know that when I was younger, I really liked those Ninjas, the Kawasaki Ninjas.
Yeah, the ZX.
I always thought, those guys that ride those bikes, they're just the coolest guys in the world.
I was like that with Jixers. Yeah.
The green ones,
yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, wow, one day. when I was little.
Yeah. I was like that at 30 odd years of age when I saw GSX-R 1000. I was like, oh, I need one of them. Yes, please.
Yeah, they're I like them because I'm quite tall and they're like really like big kind of race bike. They're bigger than the other ones, I think. Like
what the Ninjas or the GSX-R?
They're bigger than the Ninjas. I don't know like how they are now, but the old Ninjas, they were a little bit smaller than the GSX.
Yeah, right? the GSX-R always used to be quite a big sports bike compared to the others, but even the GSX-R seems to have it's definitely gone a lot smaller than it used to be, for sure. Yeah. Like you could ride, like if you get on a K5 and then you get on a K9, something like that, Jigsaw, they are different for sure.
Yeah,
they definitely feel different.
I know that the BMW race, the race bikes, how are they called? The
RR, S1000 RR?
Yeah, they look really cool. Like,
they're amazing. They are an amazing bike.
And they look really powerful and and also this new Kawasaki Ninja, the newest one, I don't know, like with the spoilers in the front, like
the H2.
That looks really angry. Like
it's got a turbo in it.
Yeah,
it's not a turbo. It's a supercharger. It's got in it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
hey, you know that there's like I don't know. Next year there's coming out a new GS, right? At 1300.
Yeah, allegedly, 1350. Yeah.
Oh, this is so crazy! Like how big does an engine have to be?
There's a couple of different rumors. There's one rumor that it's just going to be a 1350 because the GS has the GS and the GS Adventure, doesn't it? The Adventure's slightly, it's got a bigger tank and slightly bigger fairings and stuff. Well, traditionally, both the GS and GSA have always had the same engine. Whether that's a 1100 or 1200 or 1250. There's rumors that there's going to be a 1350 for the standard GS and then a 1450 for the GS Adventure. Wow. But there's also another rumor saying, no, it's just going to be the same engine, 1350 for both. But who knows? Wow. And then I've also heard that it might not be out till 2024. So who knows?
Okay. Somebody at a campsite with a BMW just told me that, like, and I was like, what? Like, how is it going to like a 2-liter bike at some point?
Well, it's all to do with emissions, though. It's all to do with the Euro. Well, what will be Euro 6, I imagine next.
Oh wow!
It's all to do with the emissions and the way part of the way they get round these emissions is by increasing the CC of the engine, and that way you can still get that power output, but you just have to increase the size of the engine. I think. But anyway,
interesting to see. I mean, they're nice bikes, like I like them, too. The GS.
Best bikes in the world, Mark.
That's I mean, they look really cool. Always have been. They looked always super special. I think most of the adventure bikes, like the big adventure bikes, they have the looks probably a little bit from the.
Just don't ever ride one. That's my only advice to you.
Because
never ride one.
Yeah, because you have to buy one. Then?
Yeah. I hated GSs, and then I rode one, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to get one of these.
No, I can imagine it. They're so powerful. Luckily, I haven't got the chance to ride one.
There'll be loads of people watching or listening to this going, I can't believe he's got it around to GSs, an electric podcast. He's got it around to GSs. Everyone moans that I talk about GSs a lot. So.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, they're so popular, those bikes.
I didn't bring this up, people. It wasn't me.
I mean, many of the viewers of your viewers and my viewers, they have a GS in their garage.
Absolutely.
Many of them, many of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and I think they're. I mean, you see them a lot too, especially when you go on a ferry boat and there's at least two or three GSs.
Yeah, always.
And they just look cool, the way they can, carry the big luggage, and you can bring like basically your whole apartment on the trip. It's cool. I mean, it's really cool.
You'll see lots on your trip. On your travels, you will see
for
loads.
Sure. I see that on Instagram sometimes when they have like boxes and boxes stacked on the, and it's like they can barely like move it. But yeah, they will get you there no matter what you bring, and your girlfriend.
And the kitchen sink. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Right. Mark's got another question. Yeah. He says he can't help himself. Mark, do you genuinely believe that electric bikes, battery as the technology stands, are the way forward, or are we just being led like sheep down a garden path to meet the demands of MPs in blue ties making huge profits? So, electric bikes, what's your thoughts? Do you think they're the future, like electric vehicles?
Yeah, it's hard to predict the future, but I'm sure there's. I know that there's coming new batteries, like new forms of batteries, and I think that's the only. That's there will be a key point, like a key moment, like the moment you have like small batteries that put out a lot of power.
Yeah.
I mean, the technology isn't new. That's like we could have all have electric cars and stuff like since the 80s, like they put out cars back then in the 80s, like with electric and with battery and all this. And I mean, I think it's more like the other way around, that the whole industry of the whole petrol industry and all this, that I mean, I would even go that they like I don't think that the electric cars or bikes are the problem. It's just in any branch, like it's if it's car or like petrol car or petrol motorcycle or electric car or electric motorcycle, it's like everybody just wants to make money, and they're trying to make money as much and as long as possible, and now there's just this new niche coming, and this new, I mean, let's face it, like if like when the climate change or anything, we won't stop it, or they won't do anything. I'm pretty sure, like we won't help it, and we are here in like us, the rich people, like in Western Europe. I mean, we are very good with our emissions anyways, like we have the lowest emission anyways, I think it has nothing to do with electric cars or petrol cars or whatever, it's just a different way of polluting the environment, you know what I mean? Like it's just a different way.
Yeah, like we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, as a saying.
And I mean, we are not the problem anyways. People that buy a car, like if it is electric or petrol, are not necessarily the big polluters anyways. That the problem that we have is not whether we buy electric car or petrol car, the problem is that we have that 6 billion people in the world are poor and 2 billion people are rich. That's a problem, and the 6 billion people that are poor, there is where the emission comes from, the bad emission, people that have to heat their houses somehow with, if it is with coal or with whatever, wood or whatever, like, or this big cities like, I don't know, like Mexico City or like Bangkok or what, that is where the emission is. And for us here in Europe, it's like, it's just for now, I would say it's just like, it's a matter of taste, and whatever they, like, as at the moment, electric cars are becoming more affordable, that people will automatically buy them more because they are quite convenient. Like people don't realize that, but especially in a city like Berlin.
Yeah, they make total sense for city type use. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And let's face it, like most cars in the city, like they basically stand around most of the time. And in bigger and more populated areas, people won't have the need for a lot of charging stations because they will charge their car at home for when they want to go to work and back,
Yeah, but then in cities like here in the UK, in big major cities, most people don't live in houses in the city. They live in apartments and blocks. So it's like, how do those people charge their vehicles?
They don't want to. They won't have a car in the future. That's the second. Yes. I mean, that is what people forget. I would even go and say, maybe many people wouldn't agree. I would say that in 10 years, like a lot of people won't even drive a car anymore because there will be self-driving cars, and there will be no need anymore for people to even consider owning a car in a populated area because like it's now with Uber, there will be, I mean, it's already like with Uber like that, people don't really need a car in the city.
Yeah, but
you don't need a car. Like, seriously, like in Berlin, I sold my car when I came to Berlin. I always had a car, always. Like since I'm 18, I always had the car. I came to Berlin, I sold it. I don't need it.
Yeah, cities. Yeah. Yes, but I think 10 years is maybe. I think 10 years is probably too soon, because it's going to require a change of mindset for people, and that's a big ask to ask people to give up what they will deem their independence. For them to give up their car, their motor vehicle, which allows them to go any place, anytime that they like. They're having to give that up in order to rely on effectively somebody else providing that service. And I think knowing what people are like, certainly my generation and older, I think the younger generation is much more accepting of that. But certainly for our generation, it's like, nah, it's like, that's fighting talk. If you're wanting to take that away, people will resist that.
It's not going to be that. I think that is the major issue is here, that the government makes it always look like you have to go electric now. Yeah. You have to. Oh yeah, thanks. I'll just get a coffee now. A tea. Thanks. I think that is the biggest problem, is that like it seems like, we have to do that now. We have to change. We have to. I think that's a big issue. This whole like negative enforcement thing. You have to do that because otherwise, you cannot go into cities anymore, or you get a fine or whatever. That doesn't really work. It should be more like, oh yeah, you can do that. That is another option. Electric. Here's another thing you could do. And same will be like with self-driving car. Oh, here's another thing you can do. So you don't have to have a car. You could also, and you don't even have to drive. I think it should always be a better way to promote certain things. And I think same as with electric. Now it's getting more in that direction. Oh, we have to do that. And, nobody likes that. Nobody likes being taught, like, you have to do that. You have
People
to change.
push back, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the main issue. It's not like that the technology is evil or anything like that, I don't know, the media or the news, they make it sometimes look like that because, like we had it before, like bad news, they're better than good news,
Yeah.
And, if you scare people with stuff, then, yeah, but it's not a bad technology, it's really... I think.
Sorry, go on.
So we have this gigafactory now here in Berlin. This huge Elon Musk factory, like it's insane, like it's crazy. And I don't know. I feel you see a lot of Teslas now here in Berlin, in the area, everywhere, like a lot of them, because they have kind of like a positive marketing, like they make cars that look cool, that are fast, and still kind of affordable, like you could afford a Tesla if you have a good, if you could afford like a normal car, you could afford a Tesla,
Yeah.
And I think they make it look really cool and they work, they just, you don't have to fiddle around with stuff, you just drive up to a charging station from Tesla and plug it in, it works.
Yeah.
I mean, that is also, there's so many things that have to be improved, of course, but that was the same with cars too.
I think people forget that. People forget that, don't they? We didn't go from horses to the cars that we know. It took a long time initially, didn't it? And there wasn't
people
the infrastructure.
Don't know that. I think people just don't, when like that is the same thing with the the generation that comes after me with the smartphones.
Yeah,
they don't know there was a life without smartphone.
A life before the internet. Yeah, I remember the internet coming in.
Yeah, before the internet. I mean, I was like really like when I was a teenager, the internet was there then. Like accessible for us.
Yeah.
So I grew up basically with the internet, with slow internet.
Yeah, dial-up. Remember dial-up?
Oh, with the modem, and then just like, oh no, I have to be on the phone, get out of the internet.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow.
No, but seriously, and they don't know how it was before smartphone, And it's just like a thing of the generations, and it's just with everything, like. People don't like change. That's the biggest issue. Like,
absolutely,
they've always driven a petrol car, and that has always have to be like that.
I think there's going to be changes. I do think that the current. I think the batteries have to change. There's going to have to be some changes because, really, effectively at the moment, all we're going to do is replace one method of destroying the environment for another. Absolutely. Because you can't just keep mining the minerals and lithium and everything like that. We have to find a new way of creating and storing the energy required to power the electric motor. The electric motor, I had Alec from English Electric Motor Company. I had him on the podcast after I did the UK ride, and it was a really interesting chat we had. And he brought up a very good topic in that, he said the electric motor is 100% the way to go because it's like 90% efficient compared to
absolutely
internal combustion, which is like something like, I don't think it's even 40% efficient. But and this was Alex's point, which has really resonated with me. He said, batteries as we know it, they are not the way to go. So we need to find some way of creating and storing the power needed to power the electric motor in a more environmentally friendly and a more economic manner. What he was talking about, hydrogen fuel cells possibly, but there's huge developments in technology needed for that.
Yeah, or this e-fuel, like this, the carbon footprint of that should be really good. So that way it would they see it as a way they could make normal combustion engines like basically neutral. because the same amount of CO2 that they put out then would be the same amount that they use for the to produce the e-fuels.
So, interesting, isn't it? I mean, this whole electric, I think even if electric is not the way we end up going as a civilization, you look at the advancements in all sorts of technology that it's creating, that it's fueling, because we're aware we need to find another way. So it's causing mankind to come up with these new ideas. So it can only be a good thing.
I think that's that's with everything, people like always inventing new stuff, new technology, and it always leads to a different thing, like I don't know, when we started like putting rockets up in the air, like we just wanted to do it, and like now everything is like based on satellites, and all this stuff. We couldn't live without satellites anymore. And that just because somebody wanted to blow a rocket up in the air and wanted to see what's going on there, and it just always leads to something bigger than you just now can see, There will always be like that, and we'll go faster and faster and faster, and we will develop so much. And you can't forget that like we're already doing better than we did before, I realized that a lot when I was in Edinburgh. Right. When I was in Edinburgh, and we did a tour in the old caves, like under the bridge where they had these caves. Like and then he explained us stories about how the city was around the 18th or 1900s, like,
it's basically
the old Riki.
That's right.
Like with all the pollution, like especially when the especially then in the early 20th century, when they started with all the factories and all this, how much pollution there was in the air, and we're doing so much better already. And I think we will find a way to do it even better. It just needs time. It just takes time, and you can't force people to do stuff.
No, very true.
That's very what true. I think. And that's the biggest mistake politicians still do. And we'll never learn that when you force something onto people, there was always going to be pushback.
100%. Yeah. I think that is definitely something, I think, which they don't appear to be very aware of, do they? Politicians and those in charge.
And for me, like I hope that with my videos, I can just show also that it just can also be also it can just be fun. You can just do stuff on an electric bike the same way you do it on a petrol bike, and it doesn't really matter, if it's electric or not. It's not evil technology. I hope people realize that.
That's something which I've noticed. I think it might be on maybe the Instagram or Facebook questions, but that is something somebody asks about. So we can get into that.
Yeah,
a little
we
bit
can
later.
do the next question, man.
Yeah.
This is the second.
This is number 3. Right? This is number 3 in an hour and 35 minutes. Right. Cheers for that one.
To go a little bit.
Yeah,
we always digress. We always go from and then we were about saving the world,
but this is what I like about about podcasts, especially ones where you're not confined to half an hour or an hour. You can just chat and see where it takes you, can't you?
Yeah, so I love that. I love that too.
Right, next one, Rebecca Christie. Wow, respect, Mark. I'm quite envious of your adventures. My question, what backup do you have if you can't find a way of charging on your route, other than asking random strangers if you can charge at their property?
Yeah, that's it. That is so easy. Really? That's it. That's the only way. There's no other way. Mm-hmm. There's no other way. I'm not. First of all, there's no way I can fit a generator in the Jimmy. Like, there's no way, because we have stuff. I'm traveling with a woman, and I have stuff. I'll be having my full setup like what I had before. There's no way. Like, imagine we have a whole life in that tiny little car. That is, people will see how tiny that car is in the videos. There's no space for no way we could fit a generator, or like this big batteries, the power station, this is a joke. You can't even charge the bike with that.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't want that. Like the fact that you're going to run out. You're going to run out of power at some point. Same as you'll run out of fuel at some point. And it's when that happens that is when the adventure starts. That's when you start relying on the kindness and generosity of the people that you meet, and then that takes you down a different path. And they'll introduce you to other things and parts of the country and the culture that you might not have appreciated had you just sailed on straight through. It
would be the worst thing if everything would be just going like
it would be boring as shit.
It would be so boring. Even with my old Honda, with a petrol bike, and I had a lot of like not even a lot of it was basically always the same problem that always came back. But I met the best people when I had problems, when I had a flat tire, and then people just drove up to where I was and brought me a spare tube, and that's just such a great time always when I had problems. And this is why, I don't even think about bringing like a backup or something, or a generator or whatever. That never crossed my mind, I will just, I have to ask people, I have to push the bike in worst case, what you gonna do, or if it, now with the Jimmy, it's cool. We can just set up camp wherever we want. Like, and or wherever we have to. We wait until somebody comes along, or hey, or if there's maybe there will be a horse that I have to hold on to, and hold on to the Jimmy for a bit, And luckily that is like a driving fridge with the tent and stuff, and I can just, when it's when I'm getting close to the limit, I can just drive behind Marie for a while, just in the,
and I'll just draw you along.
Shadow. Yeah. Which really works with electric motorcycles. That is really like, you can increase the range so much just because taking wind resistance out of the game. It's ridiculous how much mileage you can get.
And as a filmmaker, it's all this sort of stuff which is going to make your content a goldmine, isn't it? That's what's going to be the engaging factor.
I mean, I've never been like the, like I'm trying to drop the bike as less as possible. Like I'm not that. That I don't want to ever make that a thumbnail. Eve laying on the side or in a ditch or somewhere.
It's going to happen, mate. It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen. But that is, I'm trying to avoid all this. To try to keep her upright. But this is like, it's always about the story. Like for me at making movies, that is, by the way, the hardest part every day. The hardest part is like coming up with an idea. What could that day be about today in the video? What because I want to have a good, cool little story every day, Most of the time, something happens on the way anyways, but I don't know that in the morning. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen.
So you're not reactive filming? Are you trying to have an idea? I mean,
you have to be reactive filming because there's no way around it.
You can't script the day, really.
You can't script anything. That's just not possible. But what I'm trying to do is like just... Usually it's something that like that I have in my mind anyways. When you sit on the bike the whole day, you always think about something, there's always like, and there's just a little thought that like you keep mulling over it like hours, like just a little thing. And most of the time that is something then I talk about in the video, and as soon as I have one thought that I think, that could be interesting to talk about today in the video. And then, make that kind of like I'll try to make it as a topic or when I wake up in the morning, I feel really bad. Then, then I will tell people like how I feel today.
Share it. Yeah.
That kind of stuff, But most of the time something happens anyways during the day. But like, as I said, you don't know that in the morning. So I'm always trying to think of something, because usually I'm not like, oh yeah, today I'm going to visit that castle, or I'm going to, like make something worth visiting, or like most of the days I'm just riding, I'm just going somewhere and just see what's on the way. Yeah. And that's why sometimes it's important for me to think of something or what, because I'm also not that kind of guy that just can talk. I mean, sounds a bit weird saying that now after talking for like 2 hours, but when I'm on the motorcycle and trying to make a video about my day, I can't really just, hoot on and about something. I can't just really talk. I really have to think about, what do I say now? Like, I want to say that now. I say that. You know what I mean? It's not like I can just talk and talk and talk for hours and then I just cut out the best parts later.
Yeah.
That's not what women motovlogger can do that, especially American women motovloggers. They just talk and talk and talk for hours in their moto. They do like 40-minute motovlogs. God. Just talk about nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just talk and talk and talk about nothing.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. So I really have to talk about something. Like, it has to be something. Or I have to say something.
What I found with me, what I've realized is that rather than use 3 words, I'll use 303. Do you know what I mean? So
for me, it's exactly the other way around. You know what I mean?
But what I found is that I've definitely try to condense what I say, and I try to get in my vids. I try to get more to the point. The podcast, this is me normally. But in my vids, I try and condense it right down. So there is just like maybe a minute, 2 minutes of talking, and then another sequence, something else, just to break it all up. But even having said that, sometimes I find myself with a big chunk of dialogue, and it's just like, just get rid of all that, chop it all down.
The moment I do that, most of it I cut out anyways, and that's why I always I never really do that. Like, that is, I mean, it's not the videos, it's not scripted. They can't be. That's impossible to do that. I would make things easier, but it's just impossible because I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'll wake up, I don't even plan the day before. I don't know what I do the day after, because I'm still in that day making the video, editing and stuff, and I think about the next writing day. When I press publish, and then I think about, what do I do today? Like, where do I go today? What do I do? So that way, that makes it impossible to script. But during my day and the stuff I film, I know exactly what I film. Like, what you see in the video is also basically all I shot.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Yeah. It's not like I don't have like hours of footage every day. I've almost every day, almost the same amount of gigabytes on footage.
Jeez.
Like I film, but I mean, I film with like 5 cameras, like including my phone. But it's always just that moments that I think they are now important for my video. You know what I mean? And those moments I film, like also with because people ask me that a lot about the little cameras and the battery doesn't last long, whatever. You know that I never recharge batteries. Like I always use the little DJI action cam for my like vlogging scenes and all this, like my normal clips and videos.
Yeah.
It's like a GoPro, but it's like 5 years old, but in my opinion, still the best action cam out there from the quality.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just have one battery. I never switch. I never change a battery.
You've got one battery?
I have one battery in that little tiny cam, yeah.
Wait there 2 seconds.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's all my GoPro batteries.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
There's about 30 in there.
No, I have one battery, and I never have to recharge it. I always No, really, because I always shoot little clips. I know exactly what I want to shoot. You know, I see it in my head, and then I film it, and then it's there. And same as with the little cameras. You know, same thing. I press it. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to film, and then I turn it off again. And that way, I never have to like recharge or change a battery.
Mark, can I come and join you for a week just so I can see how you do it and learn?
Yeah, I mean, eventually one day I might do a little video about that. I haven't got to that point yet, but this is what I do. Like I get so many questions, obviously, about that.
It sounds a very efficient way of both filming and editing that you do. Very efficient, which suits itself massively to doing it on the road.
I couldn't do it any other way. Imagine I would have to go, like, I wouldn't have the time to go through like 5 hours of footage or 6 hours of footage. That wouldn't, how would I do that?
Well, this is what goes through my mind when I see your videos and I see Norley's videos. I'm just like, how the hell have they found the time to do this?
When I fly the drone, you know, you see a drone shot in my video.
Yeah.
You know, I stop, take out the drone, fly the shot. It takes me 1 minute, 2 minutes max. Put the drone away, done. So that is not. I'm not having like same with the drone. Like I use max. I use like 2 batteries with the drone a day max, but usually it's just 1 battery with the drone as well. Like, and I do like, I get out the drone like 4 or 5 times a day or 6 times sometimes. Wow. Yeah. But it's always just like, I see something or I think about, you know, we had this before, like I don't listen to music. I think about the day, you know, I think about what to film, because it's important for me, just making videos, you know, make them, you know, it makes me so happy when a video turns out the way I want it to be, you know, how I imagine it. And that's why I think about, like, I'm driving, I see something cool, and I was like, okay, could I drone there now? Would that make sense? It doesn't make sense. No, I'm not doing it. I'll just film it like that now. I will look cool. And then I see something else, like, oh yeah, that I have to do with the drone. I stop, I take out the drone, 1 minute flying back, bam, go again. Brilliant. Like, it's just, there's no other way. Like, I cannot fly the drone for like, you know, 20 minutes, you know, and then, and then in the end, I will just use 1 shot anyways, you know. So my approach, okay, I do that 1 shot. It has to be good. If it's not good, I'm not going to use that too, you know, like it has to be good. And there's always just a limited amount of time, especially in winter when, you know, the sun is not out for so long. That was so awesome in Iceland, for example. You could just drive the whole day and it's not getting dark. Yeah. That was so brilliant, you know. Sometimes I rock up at the campsite at 11 at night and it's like, you know, the sun is out, you know, like, and it's just like six in the afternoon. Or,
yeah. It's a weird sensation, isn't it? 24-hour daylight.
Oh, I loved it. That was so good because you don't get tired.
Yeah.
That was different last year when I went to Portugal. I really had to, my days were so limited because I don't like driving in the dark. Because filming doesn't make much sense in the dark.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah. There's all those restrictions.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, we digress again. We have to go to this.
Well, Rebecca has another part of her question. She said, what is the one thing you cannot tour without? So what's a must-have that you've got to take with you, other than obviously your cameras?
And the motorcycle.
And obviously. The motorcycle, yeah.
I think, that is a good question. The one thing I can't live without.
You can't tour without.
Can't tour without. Yeah, I mean, if you take out off the obvious, like motorcycle and gear and stuff. Yeah, I think I would always do motorcycle tours always with a little tent as well. Like always, like I would always. I know some especially YouTubers don't do it. They don't bring a tent. Some of them. I mean, even if I know that I mostly stay in hotels or something like that, I'll always bring it just in case. Just it feels
just as
good.
a backup.
Yeah, it feels good to know I have my little shelter. I bring it on this trip as well. Like I bring it again, my little tent that I had. That is super important for me to know. Okay, whatever happens, I can sleep somewhere, or I can find shelter somewhere.
That doesn't bother me. I just sleep on the ground. I'll just sit against the wall and go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that in your UK trip with the electric rig. You just slept.
But the electric's different, though, isn't it? It's not like I'm not sleeping there for the whole night. It's literally it's for 20 minutes, half an hour. Off you go again. Off you go.
Yeah, that to answer that question, that would be my one thing that I would bring for sure.
Definitely. No, I love sleeping in a tent. Camping out is just the best.
It's so cool.
I'm sure you'll experience this, but camping in the desert, sleeping in the desert, it's the best sleep I've ever had in my life. You get the heat coming up from the sand. It's just amazing. And if you get the opportunity to look up at nighttime, the skies are just... literally out of this world. It is phenomenal to see.
I can't wait for that. Like that will be so cool.
Right, we better crack on. Biker España. Hi to you both. A couple of questions, if I may. Question 1, what do you think is or will be the biggest drawback to electric bike use for the trip? Range is the obvious one, but what about weight, maintenance, hot or cold temperatures, etc.?
I mean, that is really hard to say because there's not really so much drawbacks that I think there's going to be, because maintenance wise, I covered a lot now. Like she was gone, and I got so lucky with the mechanic, man. That it was just such a brilliant guy, and he's not just a mechanic; he's an engineer, And he was test driving Zeros back in California.
Wow.
It's just what a really great guy, and he did a lot of stuff, and he also gave me a crash course and gave me he printed out stuff for me, to have to just so that I'm a little bit prepared for whatever could happen. You know what I mean with the. I don't know. And he explained how to change a belt right, stuff like that. A belt can break. And then he explained to me how to put it on and all, so little stuff, or how to remove the GPS in case I have to when I'm in countries where it's not allowed. There's countries where it's not allowed to have that on a motorcycle.
It was never an issue. Honestly. That has never ever been an issue for me. There's places where even in Europe, there's places where you're not even supposed to have GPS if they've got the speed limit, the speed cameras on them. You're not supposed to have helmet mounted cameras, but it has never ever been an issue for me ever.
Yeah, I haven't experienced anything like it as well. But little things. But the thing is with the electric motorcycle, what can happen really is that when it breaks down, that it could be really it's either running or it's really dead. It's dead. When there's something if I rip off the controller or something, because the control unit is on the under the battery.
Yeah.
I put, and there was just plastic as a cover, but I replaced that with metal now.
You got a proper bash plate there, yeah.
Yeah, like a bash plate, yeah. And so that could happen, that the bike shuts down and there's nothing anymore. I can't do anything, and if that happens in a place where there's no AAA or something like that, that could be an issue. Then there could be. But
then again, as we spoke about, that's when you rely on other people that you meet. And
luckily, I have I know this awesome mechanic now, and I have his number, and then he said call me whenever, call me anytime, and we get you through this, and just have to rely on people then. And this basically, and that can be with any bike, also the new bikes, they have so much electronics,
Yeah, true.
No, this.
And what you'll find is, as long as you can get whatever country you're in, as long as you can get to a capital city, there will be somebody in that capital city who is either a distributor or can get whatever you need. And it's just a question of getting there from wherever you are, if you're a mobile. So, and again, that's another arm of the adventure, isn't
it? Exactly. And luckily that is a good thing. I have we as YouTube community people, we have such a big base of all sorts of people that we can reach out to.
Of course.
That is so cool. I mean, I can ask many thousand people for help, just or for knowledge, totally. If there's a problem, and they're all willing to help. And there's some people that will just go above and beyond to help you out. That's what I experienced already. And
well, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous and so excited for you. It's gonna be
right,
an amazing adventure. It really
is. And like people like you, I know you now. Like I can use your experienced world traveler. If I have a question, I'll just
which is that and
ask you.
Everyone that follows you. There'll be people like me, there'll be people like Norley who's got an incredible reach, and they then just share it amongst their community, and the reach just expands and expands, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there will be, and somebody will know somebody that can help you out, Totally. That is also a reason why it was always so important for me to do this all in English. I'm German, I'm native speaking German, and for me there was never that I never even thought about doing this in German, because I wanted to reach all the people in the world, because I knew when I'm traveling, I'm going to visit a lot of countries and I'm going to meet a lot of people, and I want everybody to understand me. And this already happens now that, I reach so many people and, can have this big community, and that's awesome. That's so cool. In English, like most of people understand English. That's a cool
Absolutely.
thing.
And it's only going to grow, mate, as you go as well.
For sure.
Biker España has another question. Which countries or places are you looking forward to visiting the most?
That is also a good question. The thing is, I'm never really I'm never really thinking about that, because I'm always I just go. I never really plan. I don't even know what country I'm going to visit first.
Do you not have a route?
No, not at all. I never have a route ever. I never with the UK trip. I knew I wanted to go to John O'Groats at some point. That was the only goal I had. And after that, I was like, okay, I have to do Ireland and let's go to Ireland somehow. Yeah. I never plan. Or when I went to North Cape, the day I started and made the first video, I was like, fuck, I need some kind of headline or something like that for my first video. And then it just, I thought about it and it went to my Instagram, and a lot of people asked me about North Cape. All right, I'm going to North Cape. I wanted to go to Norway and just, but I never really thought about anything. And this is the same way now. I didn't really think about it. I know I want to, Mongolia, that would be super fun. That will be.
Mate, if you get to Mongolia on an electric bike, oh my God, wow.
This is going to be the biggest adventure then. Or Iran. Iran is supposed to be super beautiful. Yeah. But, I never really think about it. I know we're going to leave. I always live in the moment a lot. Right now it's a lot okay, I have to get this apartment cleaned out. I have to get ready. I have to sort this out. And then the moment I will get on the bike and Marie in the car and we drive our first day, then it's going to be, okay, now we're in this. Okay, what are we going to do now?
So do you not have, you must have, what direction are you going to head on day one when you leave your apartment?
Yeah, that we want to go, there's a famous Christmas village in Germany, down in the south. And Marie always wanted to go there, and okay, we're gonna go there.
Mm-hmm.
That is our first, and then I don't know, like
wow.
we want to go down south now for the winter, like towards. Yeah, that's the thing now. Like I could do like there's options now. You know, I could go to Italy now. I could down Italy and take then the ferry to Greece. Mm-hmm. You know, or something like that. Or I go like Croatia and do like, and Bulgaria and then go Greece or go Turkey. You know, but yeah, like let's see, let's see. I don't know. Or maybe we go Italy, then we go Greece, or maybe we go back to Slovenia because I don't know why. And you know, there's no like. We'll play it by ear, you know. Just
did you have any plans to do Africa?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I want to go to Africa. Yeah, for sure. But that's the same thing. Like, how are we going to do that? Like, we go Egypt first?
Yeah, when do you do it? Yeah.
Do we go, like, maybe we go back to Spain and go to Morocco first, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many options, you know, or maybe there's something coming up, you know, somebody invites us somewhere, or maybe we go there, you know. That's the cool thing. Like anything can happen.
Yeah. But then you have all your visas though as well. It's particularly Africa. A lot of the African visas you have to get in advance.
Exactly. Then maybe we have to wait for a visa. Mm-hmm. We have to wait for a month or whatever. And then in between, we visit some other country in between or whatever, you know. It's just, that's the cool thing when you don't have this, like I think that makes it so difficult for most people, this time frame, you know, to have a time frame or have to do it that way. And if there's a problem, it's going to fuck up my whole time frame.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I mean, the whole thing is pretty scary. Like, I'm pretty freaked out about it a little bit, you know, but in a good way. But we don't have that like fixed time frame, you know. When there's a problem, then okay, we'll have to deal with it somehow, and you know there will be a solution. Okay, we'll set us back, but there's no really setting back. There will be just a change of plans.
Yeah,
you know, there's no setback. There's just a change of plans.
Totally,
and that way it makes it a little bit less scary.
Definitely, I always remember that genuinely the hardest part of my whole trip for me was leaving on day one. It's when the time comes to actually set sail and off you go.
Yeah.
That's a big one because you have to make that range to leave. And
it always is.
For about the first 6 weeks, you constantly are thinking this is going to come to an end soon and I'll be going home. You know, you're still in that holiday almost mindset. Okay. A bit different for you because you've done quite a bit already. But I found after about 6 weeks, my mindset switched and it was now, I wasn't thinking about coming home. It's just right, like we're living and we're breathing the trip now. And that's when all the magic happens. It's mental. It's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think now that this whole coming home part is out of the game. It's like there's no coming home. That's for sure. So I think that we will be a little bit early in that. Okay, we're doing this now, and this is now life. This is now our thing. But I have the same thing like you have with every trip. Like the first day is always like just want to like. Especially when I went off without Marie. And I always had that again when Marie came visit somewhere and then left me again. I had the first day again. You know what I mean? Like, I always have that. That's really, you're totally right. That's the hardest. The first day leaving.
Right. That was Biker Hispania. Says, good luck with the trip. Should be a great adventure. Next one, Charlie Callard. Evening, gents. Hope you're both well. I followed Marc's travels with great anticipation and excitement. And now, thanks to what you both have done with electric bikes, I've gone from not wanting to ride electric to I want one of those. Energica and Harley in particular. So my question, what countries do you see being the most problematic for charging? Also, do fried eggs belong in a burger? Yes, 100%. Do you think that? Eggs in a burger?
Yeah, I love that. I put eggs on anything. I love eggs, really.
Right.
Especially fried eggs.
Most problematic country for charging?
Yeah, we just had Mongolia, I think.
I think you're right there. Mongolia is going to be a real struggle, isn't
absolutely. That will be a huge problem because they struggle with roads.
Well, it's like most countries out there, even if they don't have roads, they all have some form of electricity, whether that's the generators and things. But I think Mongolia still has a huge swathe of its population that are nomadic and they don't live off of any sort of power at all, whether that's generator based or not. So that could be a struggle.
Yeah, 100%. So we have to I think that would be but other than that, I don't know. I don't really know. I can't people ask me that a lot, but I can't really say that because I don't know other countries well enough. It's not like that I don't know how life is right now in Africa, to be honest. How could I know that, I know it's more difficult, and I know there's not going to be like quick chargers or something like that, but I really don't know how it's going to be. But that's going to be the exciting part also for the viewers because they will learn as I will. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. It's just like you have to look for a gas station.
Yeah.
We have to look for a gas station and
charge. And electric, don't you? Of course. Yeah, because we need that. Wow.
I mean, that Jimmy, the range isn't that great, I think like 350 kilometers.
You'll be fine.
I think so too. This is just a small gas tank, and I don't want to bring a spare fuel or anything. We won't have space for a 10-liter spare. We would rather bring 10-liter of water.
One thing I realized is that if you can see mopeds, and you'll see mopeds everywhere, as long as you can see mopeds, there'll be fuel. And I remember in some up in the Andes in South America, needing fuel and going to find just asking a policeman in a little town that I was in, and he literally took me to a lady's house, like to her apartment, and she had like big, water vats, the big things you have in your garden. She had like 5 of them in her front room, and they were all full of fuel.
Dangerous.
Just full of fuel, and she would just ladle the fuel out into a bottle of Coke, an empty plastic bottle of Coke, and she just filter that with tights, and she just, her stockings, pour that in, and that's your fuel. There's fuel everywhere. You'll get fuel. That's not an issue.
Yeah. South America. From where did you go to South America?
I flew into Santiago in Chile from Australia, and then it's a bit of a regret of mine. I just jumped on the Pan America and just started heading north. So I did Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia. Then I flew across the Darien Gap to Panama, and then all up through Central America, eventually into Mexico into the States, and then round the States into Canada.
But all with your bike, you shipped the bike then?
Yeah, I shipped the bike by air everywhere except going from East Timor to Australia. So to get from Dili in East Timor to Darwin in Australia, it was like a 2-week boat ride. But I couldn't go with the bike. I had to fly and just went into a hostel and waited in the hostel for the boat to the bike to arrive. Sure. But I flew it most of the way just because it works out a bit more expensive, but not that much more expensive than you think it's going to. Well, not then. It's a lot more expensive now. But by the time, rather than like to get from Australia to Chile, the bike flew with me in the plane. So it was 3 days ultimately, in between a day either side of travel just to get the bike to the airport and packed and ready to get on the plane, and then the same on the other side. You're talking 3 days. So that's 3 days accommodation I had to find in Santiago. Whereas if it went via boat, it could be 3.5 months. It could just be stuck somewhere for a while. So, ultimately, there's a lot of those costs people don't take into account when they think about shipping.
I'm fully aware of that. Yeah. Like, I want to do South America and America too, but after New Zealand, after we got to New Zealand, that will be at a later point. And I don't know, I don't really know like how I'm gonna do it. If I ship the motorcycle there, I for sure probably won't ship the car there, because I don't even know if we're gonna bring the car back to New Zealand as well. Right. We'll see, because they're weird about like, in case we want to register the car there, we apparently couldn't do it in New Zealand because of the left-hand drive.
Right. Yeah.
I think like Marie said something like that there's a problem that you can't register the car when it's like the left-hand drive there, the left-hand wheel, because you can only register it in New Zealand with the right hand.
Yeah, because they're like the UK, they drive on the left, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And there's some issue with that. So we don't really know what we're going to do with the car once we're in like. Yeah, because I also want to go to Japan. That will be awesome.
I was going to say to you, say, if you possibly can, go to Japan.
No, we will. No, that is 100% clear. I just don't know how we're going to do it with the car. Like with the motorcycle, that is 100% sure. Like I want to go there. And
are you going to South Korea?
Huh?
Are you going to South Korea?
Yeah, I would love that.
Well, there's a ferry. There's like a roll-on, roll-off ferry. So you can literally you can ride your bike or drive the car straight onto a ferry, and that ferry will go from South Korea across to Japan.
Perfect.
It's a nice ferry. It's all right.
But we're going to do that for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Japan is amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
I mean, and it all depends, what is in 2 years, like, like within so much happened within 1 year now for me. So much, like I said, like a year ago, I would have never imagined I could even make money with YouTube. And now the last trip I could completely finance just with the videos, the whole journey.
Wow.
The whole journey, and plus the repairs for the bike too. Just with the, but that means putting out videos every day, bam, 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 bam. But I don't know what it's gonna be in 2 years, like how it's gonna be, and we'll have to we'll have to see. I don't know, like, but for sure, as how I'm gonna ride that motorcycle to New Zealand. That is definitely. And then from there on, let's see. Maybe it makes more sense to get an electric motorcycle in South America, a different one, or I don't know. Like, let's see what's going to happen then.
Yeah, I think you're right. Not to constrain yourself with a definite plan like that. Just see what happens as you go.
Hey, that always worked really good for me. That luckily my whole life has been like that. Like as a musician, you live from tour to tour, from album to album. You never really know, there could be a tour now. Like you always work with record labels and agencies, and they will book a tour or they won't book a good tour for you. Like, and then there's a really good tour, and then you're on tour for a while, and then you come home and okay, what now? Okay, and then there's a new gig, a new band. Okay, I moved there now. I'll go there. I never had really a plan. I never even did a vacation before I started motorcycle traveling. I never had a vacation. Like, I never went on vacation. Like, I was always just touring or at home. I always had to do day jobs as well. Like, there was just, just when you're on tour, then you make money. You can make a living, and once you this also, as a musician, it was basically the same lifestyle as with the YouTube traveling. Like, you're on tour, you make money. You come home, you don't make money. You have to work a job.
What was your? Sorry to interrupt. There's a little delay.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
What did you play in the band?
I played, like, the last 8 years. I played guitar in a Mexican punk rock band called Rabia Sorda.
A Mexican punk rock band.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Yeah. No, the singer actually lives in Germany now.
Right.
And that was just, it's always like in the music business, always about like somebody calls you because somebody is looking for that and that, you know?
Yeah.
And this is basically how it happened, you know, just a producer that I worked for, he called me, hey, this guy needs a guitar player. And I was like, yeah, okay. Because I'm a drummer. I studied drums. And, but then, you know, I always played a little bit guitar, and then like, yeah, okay, join this band. Oh, it's cool. And then we started touring like all over the world, and like small punk clubs, you know, like not big, huge venues or anything like that. And that was cool. I did that for the last 8 years. I had like other projects as well. I do music with Marie. We do techno. Marie is she's a DJ, and when we met, then, you know, I wanted to do something with her, and then we started producing electronic stuff, and then we did shows as a duo, you know, like she did her DJ thing, and I played live percussions and keyboards, you know, electric drums and all this.
Yeah.
And that was right before COVID hit. We started touring, we played shows, like we played a huge festival in Australia. And we came back from Australia, and then COVID happened, and it was like,
end off, yeah.
Everything, you know, it was crazy. Yeah, and I always did, like in my 20s, I said at the beginning, I played in a hard rock band, you know, like Motorhead kind of style, but with German lyrics, like really hard. And, you know, with the we had there was a lot of our fans, they had this like fan groups, and it was like built like motorcycle chapters. They had this vest, you know, leather vest with their patches and all this. It was fantastic. We played a lot of like motorcycle meetups and all this, you know. I played shows with, I played, you know, Wacken, the big German metal festival, Wacken.
Wacken? No,
it's the biggest metal festival in the world, like with 80,000 people.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's the biggest in the world. Like and I had the chance to play there. That was really cool. And we played shows with Motorhead and with Alice Cooper.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, just, you know, it's like opening up, you know, or on a festival.
Yeah, opening acts. Yeah.
It was good times. It was really fun. I had, like I said at the beginning, I had my fair share of, like, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll.
That's another podcast.
that would be that would be. I could write a book about all this.
Are you going to write a book about the travel, about your trip?
Yeah, I should do that, right? I mean, that would be a good thing to do. Like, if I have the time, then at some point, I'm probably gonna do that. But I haven't planned it. Like, it would be something to do. Like, you know, when you're in New Zealand, then, you know, and then counting sheep, and there's I could write a book.
Something to do then. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. A question probably like a number 4 or 5 now.
I think it's about 5. I think realistically, there's another 4 questions on Patreon.
We should do like a quick 10 questions, just like one straight up answer. You know what I mean? Like, and then
if you think you're capable, I don't think we can do this, but
like we can try it. Like a question marathon for a bit.
Okay, right. Next one. Pete English. Hi guys, hope you're both fit and well. Great to hear you've got Marc on, and good luck with your electric bike challenge. My question: who's been the most influential person in your life and why? So not in motorbikes, but in your life, and why?
This is really hard, you know, because
this isn't going to be a quick answer.
No, but this is so hard. You know, some people's like, my grandpa when he back then, you know, but I don't know. It's hard for me. Like, I never really thought about it, you know, because I said that before. Like, I meet people and you learn from them. You know, you always learn from them, and this is so hard, really. I gotta say, really, since I know Marie had a really big influence on me because I'm super German in a way, like Germans are like very like straightforward and like everything has to be, like in order, and like
Are you sure you're German?
Yeah, that's why I'm like that's why I'm saying like Marie is like more like all over the place, like really like it's like first do it first and then think about it, and I was always like super the opposite, and that changed a lot with Marie, like that we're very like the opposite a lot, and that is a big influence when you're with somebody that is like really the exact opposite of you. That influences you so much because most of the time you don't understand the other person, and it makes you questioning it a lot, and then it makes you think about it a lot, like, I don't know, when we like sometimes we have an argument, I think about it the whole day because I don't understand it, because she's so different in thinking. Yeah, that is she's a big influence for the last 4.5 years. Like,
wow,
he influenced me a lot. Yeah. And a lot of singers that I met influenced me a lot, because singers, when you're in a band and there's a singer, singers are the most interesting a lot of the times, because they have something to say and they say it a lot. And I learned a lot from singers in my life. From all the bands that I played in, I took the most out of it from the singers I met.
Is there anyone in particular, or they all just in their own way?
Yeah, they're all in their own way, because a singer. Oh, you're gone.
Oh, it did gone? This. No, yeah, I am here. It did this.
Okay.
Let me just change.
That's okay. Yeah, but to answer like this question, like, yeah, singers. Singers, they're storytellers, and that is why you learn the most from them, because they will always tell you stories every day.
No, that's their job, is to tell stories.
That's their job. Yeah, that's their job, and that helps. That helps me now a lot. To understand what it means to be a storyteller. To tell a story.
Yeah, totally.
You have to learn that. You have to, if you want to do like short films or videos or.
Casey Neistat says that, doesn't he? Story's king.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is right. Every film person tells you that. There's enough. That is the most. If you have like an interesting story, you can just put a camera on a guy and let him talk. If the story is interesting, it will create so many pictures in your head. You don't need to see anything else, because it will do that automatically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why they are right when they say that the story is king, because it is like that. So that's why I focus also a lot about that in my videos. Make sure that there is some kind of story at least every day.
For sure. That's what I mean. You can see in your editing that the story is so important to you, because there is a story in every vid. And it's not up to the viewer to determine what that story is. You're directing people. Right, that's
important,
the story.
And that is also important to understand that as a creator, that you tell the story and and you don't let the audience decide what kind of story you tell, because that will someday it will make you unhappy. I think if you just always listen to the people, what they think could be your story every day, like. You always have to do your thing. You decide what your story is, what your audience is, and if people don't like the video you make, okay, then they don't watch it. There's so much to see on the YouTubes, like there's so many videos.
Definitely.
There will always be people watching your stuff, That's why it's so important to always just do those videos that you want to make. For example, now I know people would love so much if I would do a video about the motorcycle repair and the shop and how everything happened and all this, but I don't want to do that. For me, that's not interesting for me. It's not an interesting story for me. You know what, it would have been an interesting story if they if I, when I had this battery problems, and when I was in Ireland, what would have been a really cool story would have been if they would have changed the battery right there and then in Dublin, right away I get there and then they swap out the engine, the battery, or in the Moto 2, maybe just like super guerrilla style, like in 4 or 5 hours, imagine that story. It's that story. Like I go to Dublin, I have problems and then, they come in, somebody flies in there, they fly in a battery. I'm like, that would be so huge, what a hero story for the manufacturer, but they didn't want that.
Well, this leads us on to the next question from Joe Hicks. He said, what came of the visit to the dealer when you got back to Germany, Mark? Did they change the battery and the motor seal?
No, they just read out my data. That's all they did. Like, they didn't do anything.
Well, back in Germany?
In Germany.
In
thought
Germany.
You mean in Dublin?
Back in Germany.
Yeah, in Germany, the battery. It's a new battery. The motor is the same. There was just a problem with the seal. That there was the seal was broken, and that's why there's some lubricant in there. That was not a big deal. That was, but I didn't know that. This just looked shit, and but yeah, they did that, but the major thing was the battery. That was the battery is toast. Like it was never working properly. Like since I have it, it never worked the way it should work. And
No, go on. Sorry.
Now that I have the new battery is a whole different model. Like they don't put in the old batteries, like the old models anymore when they swap out batteries.
Nice.
Beautiful. You can imagine why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. It's old technology, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and they're like probably not so reliable, but the new batteries, they're supposed to be really good. They have a whole different system. Like their whole structure is different from the new. They look the same from the outside, but the inside is a whole different thing. It's all different.
Awesome. Nice. Well, see how long this one lasts, won't we?
We'll find out. Yeah,
you're gonna test it for sure.
But it's everything is different now with that battery. Like also the charging and all this charging is different, and it's also different safety measures in there. Like I don't know, from what I found out now, that from, for example, 75% of charging on a quick charger, it reduces automatically the charging capacity. Like it will just reduces the speed just to save the battery.
Yeah.
But I just had one ride with the new battery. Like that's all I did yesterday. I just had no time. Like I just took the whole day yesterday to make a test drive and like charge it on different. Like I charged it with the normal wall plug and charged it with the rapid charger, and it all worked.
Brilliant.
That was important to find out.
I was told with the batteries to try and keep it between 20% and 80%. Like, when you're out and about during the day, keep the battery between 20 and 80 because you get the fastest recharge time possible. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that is for sure like that. But for me, that was never really an option, because then I would have had 60 miles range.
Yeah, well, that's all I had. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, it was.
Yeah, no, that's just no option. What I learned, like what I heard, is that it is no problem to charge it fully up, as long as you then keep driving it and not just let it sit at 100%.
Okay.
Charge it up fully and then let it sit for a week or two.
Yeah.
I think that is a problem. I mean, it's like the technology is basically the same, like with the phone a little bit, with this lithium ion batteries. I mean, and you don't do that. I mean, you're told with the phones it's the same thing. I know that from phones, like charge it between 20 and 80%. It's nothing new. Like we heard that before from phones.
Yeah.
And I never did that. And my battery is like 5 years old, still the same as before. Like, that's what I always tell people. people. But I don't know how it is with the motorcycle, but I can't do the safety measures like that. I have to use that range that I have given from the.
Yeah, it's not going to be practical for you,
No,
is it?
absolutely not.
Range is going to be key at times. There'll be days when your range isn't as important for sure, but there'll be other times when you just have to get as much as you can out that battery.
But I think people always are afraid of battery damage with any device. You know what I mean? Like, they're always like, this is always a big selling point. They're like, oh, exchangeable batteries and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, most devices with the built-in batteries, for example, they also last. Of course, you have the odd thing that doesn't work or breaks or whatever. But I think the way I'm driving the motorcycle, like every day, basically, or every other day, with always charging, recharging, charging, recharging, I think that can't be problematic for the battery, because that is what they are like made for. Like I think it's going to be fine.
Think that. Yeah. I mean, although it's a totally different thing, I appreciate it. But on my round the UK, what they were worried about, they didn't tell me about this till after the event, was that nobody in the world has ever done consecutive fast DC charges. It's normally, I think they say a maximum of 5 or 6, and then you have to do a full AC charge to balance the cells. Well, I mean, I did 38 or 39 consecutive fast DC charges. I didn't do a single AC charge the whole time, and the battery was fine. There was no issue from it.
I think that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, the cars do it the same way. Like we'll have to find out all together.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a first, isn't it? So
so
do it. See what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But at least I have to answer the question again. The battery is new, and that's important. I have new tires, obviously. I have the Continental TKC. Is it TK or TK70? I don't know.
TK, is it the 80s?
The 70s.
Yeah. Are they like road off-road tires? Mostly road with a
50-50.
Got you.
Like what I had with the Metzeler on my old Honda.
Gotcha.
But they're amazing. Those tires, man. I was yesterday driving when the rain, like, it was wet all day and snow on the road. And it felt good, really felt good. What a huge difference to the tires that I had before. Like, as soon as it was wet, I felt it immediately, and you couldn't. Yeah, with the what did I have before? It was like the street tires, the normal tires. Yeah, because of that torque, like it was like. But now I feel good with those tires. That was a really good choice. And the brakes are new, the discs, because they were skipping. They had they were unbalanced. And they had to be replaced. Like I said, the mechanic, I can't thank him enough. Like, he did so much for me, and did take very little for it. I was really blessed. Really a good guy.
You'll meet people like that as well when you're away. Like the generosity, not only just the kindness and generosity, but the ingenuity of people that you'll meet is just incredible.
Yeah, and some people are just happy to help out, and they it makes them happy to see you succeed. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And to know that they were a part of it. They made it happen with you together, and I love that feeling when I get that. And I had that in, like, when I visited other repair shops on the road that offered their help, and that is just the best feeling. It makes everybody feel good, Everybody feels good afterwards, after something like that, because I know now somebody that really cared for it, worked on the bike. That's just the best feeling you can imagine. That's just so great. Yeah, but that makes me very confident. And even if something, and we had that before, like, if there's a problem, it's gonna be we'll solve it.
You'll have a queue of people waiting to help you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Second last question. Yeah. Harley. How's it, guys? Mark, what is the electric trip to you? Is it to be different or to do the unknown on an electric bike?
Yeah. That's now, I think, obvious that is a big part of it. Like I said that in the videos before too. Like on other bikes or adventure bikes, people have done that, and I could have done that, and it would have been an adventure for me as well, because every trip on any bike is an adventure. Everything, every time you go out, like after you did that first day, then and you got that, then you're on an adventure.
Yeah,
on any bike, but obviously with an electric bike, it's going to be even more exciting probably, but I just like it so much. For me, that was not necessarily the thought. Like I just wanted to do it. I was fascinated by it, and when I tried it out the first time, and I sat on I was on a different electric bike, or was also I just had it for an hour, and I made the test ride, and I loved it so much. And then I had to do it, and I just like it. I just like the feeling of it. Yeah.
But it's also the being different, though, isn't it? I can see that with you.
For sure. And you feel it on the street, when people, they approach you and they're like, oh, what is that? Or that is so cool. I mean, that feels good, obviously. I mean, I like that, being an artist. I was always on a stage or anything. I like to get that like attention from people. When people approach me on the street, obviously I love that. That's cool. I love chatting with people. I could talk for days with them. And mostly I do, and then I realize, the bike is full for half an hour already. Okay, I could have gone already, but then you just keep on chatting away. I just love that. That is obviously really cool. I had that with the old lady too, with the old bike.
Yeah,
but not at this extent as I have it now. Like when people just shout at you when you stand on the traffic lights or anything, and it's like, and that is here in Western Europe. And imagine what
it's going to be like. Yeah. Oh,
imagine, because this is also like it's a real big motorcycle. It looks a bit spacey with the big battery and stuff. It looks interesting when you see. Like imagine you've never seen something like that before. Mm-hmm. And you see that, and it's like, what the,
Yeah, I remember because I did it on the sports bike. Like being a thing that really sticks out in my mind is being right up on the Ho Chi Minh Trail in Laos, right up on like dirt tracks, just mud and rock and everything, and proper mountain people, living in the mountain huts and stuff that are there. And even those people, as you went by, they would sort of look at you, and then people would be like, Valentino Rossi. They just look and they just see a sports bike, and they love it. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, because it's such a big bike. They know the little mopeds. You see them everywhere, and in other countries they don't have big sports bikes. You don't see those on the street. Like that is also a novelty. Like in Asia, like there's no market for a little bike.
But you're going to have a big bike, and then there's going to be two stages. It's a big bike, and then people going, it doesn't make any noise. What's going on?
There's no sound. And that is gonna be super crazy. Yeah, imagine at the borders, when I imagine that really crazy when
everyone's
then they
look
at the for sure. That's gonna be very exciting with the borders then, and interesting. Like
you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I'm pretty sure. And now having also a girl with me, that will smooth things out a lot for sure. Pretty sure. Always works.
You won't have, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. The borders are just borders, They're just anyway, they've all got the same sort of path that you have to follow to get through. Some are quick, some are slow.
Yeah.
Just depends. Yeah.
It's just something for me. Is something like something that I'm not so used to, what I mean? Like being in the EU with no borders now. It's like, so it's a novelty then for me, and to have all these border crossings, but that's also going to be the exciting part, like besides electric or whatever. Like it's
all part of the adventure, all part of the journey.
Absolutely,
right. Marc, I think the best way we do this is we make this the last. Sorry, it's this camera, isn't it? We make this the last question, and then how do you feel about once you're on the road? Later on in the journey, in maybe 6 months, 12 months, whatever time, come back on and we'll do some other questions then. How about that?
Yeah, I'll love that, really.
It'd be awesome to see how your trip develops and how you and Marie, yourselves, how you change and with the experiences that you're going to have. Look forward to it.
I also plan doing like there will be days where I'm not traveling and stuff like that. I also plan to do like live streams every now and then. So, and then maybe you come on, and we do something like that.
Yeah, that'll be mint.
We do like like a chat like that, like live on YouTube, with the live audience questions and all this. It's going to be fun as well. We should definitely do that. Stay in touch. Right. I would love that. Right, and I will get in touch with you anyways if I have any questions.
I'll be following me. I'll be watching the vids and commenting. Don't you worry. Perfect. Right, last question. Martin Yoxall. Hello to both of you. I've enjoyed both your vlogs showing different angles on electric bikes. One, a manic endurance around the four corners of the UK mainland, and the other, a more chilled out tour taking in the sights. Both were mint. Do you think that EV vlogs in the future will be more about the travel, the roads, the places to see, the look at that moments, rather than the charging and the range aspect? I can understand why at the moment it is, because it's a new way of doing it, so it's not a criticism, but more in a way of normalizing the EV way of doing things. Yeah, so obviously charging, range and charge is a massive part of any EV journey, isn't it?
Yeah, that is what the people interests a lot. That is there like always. And, you can't forget, like most people that you see the videos on YouTube, for example, and the reviews, they have these motorcycles for like, a weekend or a week or something like that. Like very few own them and do really like and use them like they would use a normal motorcycle. That means when you make a review, of course you're gonna talk about all this with range, and that is what you test. That is what, because that's the obvious. I'm just that was never my approach to like I don't want to like I don't want to sell anybody anything. Like I don't care if anybody buys the bike because of me or whatever. I just like it, and I just want to ride it, and that's why I ride the motorcycle the same way I was riding my old motorcycle, and do the same things. Just with, of course, there will be charging in the videos, obviously, because that is what's happening in the day. Like I'm charging, and same way I had also gas station stops in my old videos because I had to do that. Obviously I wasn't, there wasn't, so when I did a gas stop, I was just eating something and filling up, and then that's it. I had a little bit of more time now always with charging. So yeah, obviously I was then like making it a little bit more part of my videos. And also it was also for me, it was interesting, like also the spots where I found charging, because sometimes there was charging stations at the weirdest spots, and at the, like, that like at places where like, okay, here's now I can charge here, really?
Yeah, and there's nothing round about them. There's nothing there a lot of the time.
Where you think, like, sometimes just like one little farm or something like that, or like, and there's or a castle, like, just put it up. That was the coolest thing, and that we had that before, about scripting and stuff. You can't script that because that just happened. I didn't know that. I just, maybe I can't say that too loud, but when I'm driving, then sometimes I look I look up the charging while driving,
when you're stationary, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. And then I don't read the descriptions or anything. I just type it in and then okay, pick that. Mm-hmm. And same was with that video. Like, and then I was like, where am I going now? And then I saw this. I was like, how cool is that? And that was then the topic of the video a little bit, like just sometimes cool stuff happens, and sometimes charging can also be a cool thing. Doesn't have to be boring always.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's just how you see life. It can be, there can be chances, or there can be, the time that you have to charge the motorcycle can also be a chance to explore the area.
Aye.
You know what I mean?
And
it doesn't have to be like
a
draw. Oh, it's holding me back now so much.
Yeah.
We can also use that time and do something cool. It's all about what you're going to do with it.
Definitely, yeah. Like you're turning a perceived negative by some people into a positive, aren't you? It's giving you more opportunities to meet people, to go places, see things.
I'm taking the time to have a good meal. That's like, I wouldn't eat probably like properly when I wouldn't charge. Like I did never really eat properly. Like I just eat like snacks or gas station. It's just, and then I had the time. Okay, I can just check what do I eat. Yeah. For example.
It's going to
be cool.
It's going to be an incredible journey to follow. Not only for you guys to partake in and be part of physically, but for us as viewers to experience and follow along. Can't wait, really can't wait.
And I try to make it as, like make the videos as good as possible and try to make everybody at home feel like they're on the journey with me. That is always my approach, to make the people feel like they're with me there and can experience the same things that I experience just from at home, When
do you head off again?
Yeah, as soon, this looks nice here, but the rest of the apartment looks like
empty.
There's just a bomb going off because everything is like in card boxes but yeah, we're trying to sell everything. This couch will be gone tomorrow. I sold it already. Somebody's going to pick it up. As soon as we got the house empty, probably in a week or two, we're going to go.
Wow. Can't wait. Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be some winter adventure. The first videos. I know people love that.
Absolutely.
Also, I know people love to see me freeze on the bike. I know they do. They can't tell me otherwise.
Right, dude. Where do people go to follow you? Where do they go for your YouTube?
Just type in Marc Travels to Google, YouTube, wherever. Like it will come up. Just type it in if you're interested. Marc Travels. With the C,
posh,
the posh way. Yeah. Right, it's actually because my name is Marcus, but Marc Travels sounded a bit cooler. I think.
I'll leave all the social links down below, folks. So if you're watching the vid, check out the vid description. If you're listening to the podcast, have a look at the show notes, and all of Marc's socials will be there for sure. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. Really, I love it.
Me too, man.
I'll listen to the podcast. So I'll put it in and we'll give a listen.
Brilliant. Yeah. Right, folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. There will be a part 2, maybe even a part 3 later on during the actual journey itself.
For sure.
But for the meantime, folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can and live your life. Ooh-ha!
All right. Thanks,
dude,
man.
Thank you so much for that, man.